Should have been 6-3. But gutless. No guts. No risk it, no biscuit, Bruce.
Yeah, and to be honest, like realistically, I'm like when you gave that Maryland, I'm like, why didn't I pick Maryland over Virginia? And I know they struggled early again, but Virginia's awful. The other game I liked was that I didn't have enough guts to do was App State and ECU because ECU's awful.
I didn't have the guts on the Gators. I don't know why I didn't pull the trigger with. I had it written down. Liberty -3 at Buffalo. 2-0 versus 0-2. Morning, Paul. Did you call your buddy about his kid?
I talked to the kid.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Up, down, sideways?
Up.
Wow.
We're going to talk more. We're going to talk more today.
Is he going to sleep in your spare bedroom?
No, but his aunt just moved to Cape Coral. So the timing for him isn't awful.
It's a bit of a commute, but okay.
For a start, though, but for a couple months to figure out where you want to go and what you want to do.
Yes. Week 1 was an under week. Week 2 was an over week. Also, dogs are 8-5-1. Last week, I think dogs were 10-6. I think if you've taken the points so far in the NFL, you're 18-11-1. I think through 2 weeks. Well, and 2 more games to go. And road teams are 18-12. 60%.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope you've had a great weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I come at you from Pittsburgh, although I look like I'm in a dungeon. Mark, what was your description right before the show started? What do I look like if you're watching on the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel?
70s cop show interrogation room.
This is old Hawaii Five-0, although they tried to recreate it in the newer version of Hawaii Five-0 too. They had a gray dungeon room where they interrogated everybody. And yet, amazingly, the lighting was spectacular. It was perfect. All right. And everybody had makeup on, but I digress. No makeup, lighting, better than usual, I'd say. I've got 2 blowtorches on either side of me here, both from other parts of the hotel room.
At least they're not from other hotel rooms.
No.
At least last night you weren't knocking on Joe's door saying, I need a lamp. I need a lamp.
Although I will say last night, an impromptu moment out of nowhere. All right. I had internet problems, and I hope that they don't continue in the show today. But I had internet problems in the room, and so we had some events scheduled at a fairly nice, happening place in Pittsburgh, and I couldn't make it because if the internet doesn't work, my life is awful. And so by the time I got the internet working and what have you, I couldn't make it to the event. But I am 2 blocks from Permane Brothers. Well, I mean, hey, what do you say? I mean, when in Pittsburgh.
So you had your own event.
So I did. So I walked over, had my sandwich, sat at the bar, watched the end of the 4:00 games, and I'm walking back to the hotel room. It's just 2 blocks. And as I'm walking into the hotel room, Joe, Troy, and a few of the important people, their car pulls up. They're just coming back from the event. They're like, "Where were you?" Blah, blah, blah. And I go, "Well, Permane Brothers." And Troy goes, "Permane Brothers? I got to have one of those." And I go, "Well, it's open till 11. So we walked back over to Permane Brothers. And, it was a crowd, Sunday Night Football. There's like 30 people waiting outside just to get in the place, and it probably only seats 100. Okay, so I said, "You want to wait 30 minutes in line?" Not really. But there's Troy Aikman taking pictures of the Permane Brothers right out in front. I go, "Man, you are just Joe Tourist." I go, "Look at you." And so I think we're going to hit it after the production meeting, after the show. So, which, that'd be 2 and 16 hours for me. That's a little embarrassing, but okay.
They've got more than one sandwich. There's variety there. You can go with the roast beef. You're fine. It's all right.
It's funny you say that. I went roast beef last night. So I don't know if I'd go burger or if I'd go like pastrami or something.
You'll go pastrami today.
Yeah.
You get a burger anywhere.
Exactly.
You can get a burger anywhere.
Exactly. So, but the Steelers trying to avoid an 0-2 start tonight, just like Carolina is trying to avoid an 0-2 start tonight. The road teams with the chance to be 2-0 tonight. The home teams trying to avoid 0-2. But we'll worry about that at a different day. Hey, how about them Bucks and Dolphins, huh?
How about them Bucks and Dolphins last night? The Bucks yesterday afternoon taking care of business against Chicago. And Baker Mayfield looked pretty good in that game.
He looked better than that. He looked better than that. They actually did some things yesterday they didn't do all last year with who at quarterback. They converted some 3rd and longs that they didn't convert a 3rd and 11 or longer all year last year. All year they didn't convert a 3rd and 11 or longer on offense. They converted 2 of them yesterday. Hell, I think the 1 touchdown was thrown on it. So
this guy named Mike Evans caught some balls.
Okay. Once again, even though I would have traded his butt, all right, before I traded him, what did I say? Okay. He's a Hall of Famer. All right. That is a Hall of Fame receiver. That is. I will say a lot of people looking for contracts played really well yesterday. Robert Hunt, the guard for the Dolphins, has had a really good start to the season. Tua got touched once again yesterday. 1 sack. 2 games, 1 sack so far for Tua without Teron Armstead. I'm just saying. Who thought the biggest problem for the Dolphins after 2 games would be their kicking game and snapping the ball? They're having a harder time snapping the ball than they are protecting Tua. There's so many good – Mark, this is like a buffet. There's so many damn good things to talk about with the Bucks and Dolphins. You and I have done 8,000 shows. We've never had a buffet like this before, seemingly at the same time.
Not at the same time, David. Not at the same time.
Golly, what are we going to do? And the Gators beat the Vols. Why? Because that's what they do in the swamp. And
yeah, they didn't just beat them.
No,
David, they did just beat them. They kicked the tar out of them.
Here, come here. Take your face. Put it in this. What does that smell like? That's what you are.
If we want to run it, we're going to run it. If we want to throw it, we can throw it. And we're going to manhandle you throughout the game.
Come here.
We are physically bigger and tougher than you today, and we're going to let you know all night long.
Go back to Knoxville. Take this with you, okay? This is the swamp. You guys are lucky we allow you to come here once every 2 years, but you're certainly not allowed to leave with a win. Got it? Yes, sir. Okay. I got it.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you go. Now, listen, there's still I think the Gators are a lot like the Tampa Bay Bucks. All right. They don't know how much special there is about either team. But you know what? Bucks needed that win. And they got it. And now it's like, okay, this season has possibilities. Because if you can't beat the Bears at home, especially early in the year, right. and the Gators need to do something. The people were it was a sellout, but the people were not believing. They were hoping, but they were not believing. Now you got some belief in the system. Now students, when they walk by the players, are not just going to be like, eh. Okay, they're going to be like, hey, great game. We're going to be there next time. Way to go. You got this. And Mark, let's be honest also. It came a handful of hours after Georgia was down 14-3 at the half at home to South Carolina. So now you got Gator faithful going, see? Anything's possible now. Alabama sucks. Georgia's not that good. Okay? We don't have an SEC team in the top 10. Okay, except for Georgia. And that's really based on the last 2 years, not this year. We can do this. See what one day can do?
Oh, there's no doubt that sometimes that 7:00 slot, David, can work really well for a fan base.
Yep.
When you lose in the 7:00 slot, like Tennessee did,
right?
Their fans saw Georgia down 14-3, and they're playing Rocky Top in their head, and they've got they're doing it the third, the fourth, and the fifth time already, and it's 3:00.
Right. We're going to beat the Gators.
They go down and score. I mean, think about it.
We're going to beat the Gators, and we're going to beat Georgia when we get them at our place, and we're going to Atlanta, baby. This is our year. We are back.
Not so fast.
Come here. You see what this smells like? Put your face in that. It's called the dirt. You know what you are? You're the dirt.
That was the performance that the Gator faithful needed. Not just a win, a resounding win, a tough win, doing things the way you expect to.
And Mark, having hosted, let's see, how many years you do play-by-play and how many weeks in a season, after having done about 500 coaches shows, I'm being conservative. It was probably more than that. But after having done about 500 coaches shows, all right, this is one of those in which, when things are going badly and you've got the deal with the sponsor, all right, and you're going to have it out in public, okay, and when things are going badly, one of two things happens. Either 3 dozen angry fans show up, and it's a very uncomfortable 90 minutes, or 4 people show up, which looks bad for the sponsor and what have you, and there's no interest. Okay, Billy Napier has not had a lot of enthusiasm at the coaches' shows in a year plus. Okay, I don't know where and when they tape their coaches show and what have you, but now you got, Monday night, come on out to Spurrier's and meet Billy Napier. Yes, absolutely. Let's go. Way to go, coach. Great win.
No heckling when they announce his name at the beginning. No one's yelling anything. A lot of clubs.
Walks in. Okay, people doing the Gator chomp.
Gator chomps.
Right. And Mark, when the show starts at 6:30 and the coach shows up at 6:29:17, okay, how things are going. Now, this one, you show up at 5:30. Have some appetizers. Have people buy you stuff.
Couple photos with the fans.
Sure. Hell, even Todd Bowles. He could do a coach. Mr. Personality himself. Hey, Todd Bowles. Yay. Way to go, coach. Looking good, coach. By the way, when it was 14-3 South Carolina at the half, I got a couple texts. Remember the show we did a couple of months ago? I went off on a tangent for a few minutes. Like, that doesn't happen every day. And which I talked about how weird it is to go to a South Carolina game and have all the women walking around with shirts that say "Go Cox" and then vocalizing what's on their shirts. Go Cox! Well, when they were up 14-3, I'm getting these texts from people who heard the show going, it's going to be a hell of a Monday. Okay, it's going to be a hell of a Monday. Nope. Go Bucks! How about them Dolphins? Go Gators!
Wow. All with that accent, too.
We're all with the Go Cox accent. Yes.
Coach Kelly, is that you?
Yep. And I'm dancing in a circle, too. Yep. In the dark dungeon here in Pittsburgh. Yep.
Go Tigers.
It's a good reach, Felipe. It's pretty accurate.
But a spectacular weekend for Florida football. All but the Jags with the win. And the Bucks and Dolphins are 2-0.
And Florida State got out of Chestnut Hill and survived.
Miller and Moulton, the starting five, 25 minutes away right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Boy, Ambient, I'm feeling for you, man. Not the start of the season that you wanted. You're about to be 0-3. So sorry.
What's this Kyle Pitts getting no love? What are you talking about? We've done one segment. Plays for the Atlanta Falcons, by the way.
Look at the source sometimes before you even answer. There are people who just throw random things in this room, and that is the leader of the pack and throwing random.
Yeah,
things
that's true.
in.
He throws 137 things out there a day. Plus, he's upset his Blue Jays are shit in the bed.
I watched the first half. I couldn't make it for the second half.
Actually, that's not true, Ken or Leaf. You guys swept the weekend, and Seattle now is out. I fell asleep. I had to go to bed at halftime. Colorado State.
That's what I did.
I haven't seen the ratings, but somebody sent out a tweet that said it was the highest rated game of the weekend. Which is pretty impressive for a 10 p.m. ESPN or
That ended at like 2:30 in the morning Eastern time.
Canada Relief has not subscribed? Oh my goodness. No, the Jags fans didn't show up for the game on Sunday. The Jags fans are like Mark Miller. There's two things that happened in that game. First off, Chiefs fans got their hands on tickets from the brokers. And secondly, some Jags fans went, yeah, it's September. Do you know what it's like sitting out here in September?
Whew. That and the Bucks game looked like torching hot.
Felipe, you should have been there. Mark turned around, looked at me, and said, never again. I go, what are you talking about? Never again. Don't care if they're free. Don't care. No, seriously. He was with our former producer, John Cassio. They both said, if we're not in a suite with air conditioning, no chance.
Left at halftime of a Florida-Tennessee game, went to the bar and watched second half. Wouldn't stay in the stadium.
Look, man.
I'm sorry. Left in the second quarter. We had enough.
I used to go to Marlins games at Dolphin Stadium before that roof in the middle of July. And, man, I'm talking an oven.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Starting 5 in a little more than 15 minutes' time, Gary Danielson will join us in 40 minutes' time. Chris Landry and Edgar Thompson also to talk plenty of football on the show. I'll mention it now since it is the baseball hour. Rays lost the AL East yesterday, in all likelihood. Don't know how many people were paying attention. At the very least, it should have been Sunday Night Baseball. What in the world? Oh, I know what they're doing. It's the Cubs. But come on. I mean, if you're actually covering the sport, don't you have to have the Rays-Orioles game as a Sunday Night Baseball game? Anyway. Mark, don't know if you were paying attention. So they called this kid up, Tristan Gray, over the weekend, shortstop, 7+ years in the minors. And he gets called up. Here we are, 2.5 weeks left in the season. He's getting called up because, the Rays have issues at shortstop. And he makes pinch hitting appearance on Saturday, makes an out, gets a start yesterday, gets a hit early in the game. Okay, gets his first major league hit. That's nice. His family's there. Mom's crying, the whole deal. 8th inning, tied 1-1. This is for first place in the East.
Right.
He homers over the center field wall. And then Betancourt right after him homers as well. It's 3-1 Rays, 6 outs to go. Fairbanks gives up a homer in the 8th. Okay. Gets the first 2 outs in the 9th. 2 outs, nobody on. 3-2 lead. One more out, they're tied for first. Yeah, the Orioles have the tiebreaker and, what have you. But, come on now. That's 3 out of 4. That's tied for first. Fairbanks gives it up. Single and a double. Tying run. Rays losing extras. O's get the split because the Rays had won Thursday, Friday. O's won the weekend. So Rays are 2 back, 3 in the loss column. O's magic number's 10. Rays have 11 games left. Orioles with 13. In all likelihood, Rays lost the East yesterday. They'll be the 4 seed. They'll host Toronto, Texas, Seattle, somebody.
In what should be a really good best of 3 series.
Yeah, and then in all likelihood get a best of 5 with the Orioles again. But would have been a really heartwarming story, Mark. I mean, honestly, parents crying in the stands. The kid was emotional when he got called up, thinking about all his parents had sacrificed so that he could follow his dream. I mean, it was just, right out of Central Casting. 1 out away. But anyway, back to football. The Dolphins are 2-0. 2 wins on the road.
2 wins on the road, David.
Coming home to face the 0-2 Broncos. Russell Wilson doesn't look like he's Russell Wilson anymore. And Sean Payton suddenly looks old. Man, stop dyeing that hair. Stop putting makeup on. Fox made him look a lot younger last year. Man.
Yeah, now he looks like he's just listening to Yacht Rock Radio. Doesn't look the part anymore.
No. Did you see the end of the game?
I did. Which game?
Well, the Dolphins, Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I did.
So,
you just were talking Sean Payton. They had a wild ending of their game as well. That's the only. That's the only reason I said which game. Sorry.
No, it's a good call by you. Yeah, now it's nuts. My goodness. So, all right, what'd you think? The 4th down play, and they rule it a first down, and then upon further review, they say no, he was short. Do you think he was short? Yes or no?
Yes. I did not think, however, when they went to review that they had enough to overturn it. I thought how it was called on the field. It's tough. For how many times we've seen them review the spot of a ball, it doesn't get moved very often.
No, it doesn't. I thought there was one shot where they froze it, where to me it looked like he was clearly down 1 foot to 1/2 yard short of the marker. Knee is down. The ball is not in his left armpit. It's more in his midsection, so it's further back in him. His left arm is not even necessarily at the first down marker. I actually think they got the spot right. This is, though, once again, this is a $20 billion a year sport. And don't you think if for all the harping you have done to get computerized strike zones, don't you think there needs to be a movement we got to do a little better job spotting the football, don't we?
Okay. When someone can just, instead of coming up, we can put a chip in the ball. How do we define when the knee's down, the elbow? We have 47 different ways that you can be down in football. When your elbow hits, when your knee hits, when your butt hits. Mark, we don't know exactly where the ball is in all of those spots. I would love it, David. I truly would. I want any technological advancement of sport to make it easier on the officials and better for the fans and better for the outcome to be more honest every time. I don't think this one's as easy as everybody seems to think it is. All I ever hear is we put a chip in the ball. That's great. I'd rather have 2 chips, some dip, hell of a dip. It doesn't matter. Dean's French onion. I don't care which French onion dip it is.
A chip in a chair.
Right.
There's no doubt that to put a chip in the ball is one thing. Also, where you're going to put it, it just which edge of the ball is actually closer to. I get it. I'm not saying it's as easy as in tennis. I'm not saying it's as easy as in baseball. It's complicated. Okay, there's the shape of the football alone, I think, complicates it. Never mind, are you down or not, when, etc. I get it. But, come on, Mark. I saw a video the other day of a train in China going 250 miles an hour, okay? And it's humming along so well that the guy took a coin and balanced it on the rail of his seat, and the coin didn't move. It was that smooth. You mean to tell me we can't somehow, some way figure out whether or not the guy's got a first down or not? Elon Musk.
Chinese train television for.
it showed up on my Twix, my Twix, Twitter and X. It's Twix. That's what we're going to go with. We're going to see whether or not it takes hold or not. It's going to start on Miller and Moulton. Twix. I got a Twix. All right. Maybe it was TikTok. I don't know. And I get those. I don't subscribe to it, but whatever. And yes,
Every
I
time
have
I
eaten.
see the Heisman House commercial, I think of you. We're making a TikTok.
It's true. That's true. I think I got a tickety talk. Okay. And anyway, that's where I saw it. But I was thinking that last night. I'm like, it's a $20 billion annual industry. I think we've got to do better than this. And then, of course, there was the video earlier, the poor official, and he's trying to move the chain back, and Belichick spiking the flag right in the middle of him and the chain. I don't know. I'm just thinking maybe we could do better, but I thought they got it right. For what it's worth, I thought they got it right. And the Patriots benefited from a couple calls earlier in that game. So Pats fans, take it easy now. Okay. Take it easy. You had a couple things go your way there. So Dolphins controlled the game. They ended up with 100 more yards than the Patriots. Patriots lost the turnover battle. Tua's undefeated against the Patriots. 4-0 against Mac Jones, 5-0 against Belichick. But remember, he sucks. He sucks. He can't play. He's a bum. I mean, just my good. He's a bum, Mark. Bum. Stop it. Stop saying he's pretty good. Stop saying he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. Stop it, will you?
I will say, David, it's 2. 14.5's the number. But at the rate they're going, since
Right.
he's hardly being touched,
Right.
the Miami Dolphins offensive line is the best thing about the Miami Dolphins so far this year, the biggest surprise, I should say, because without Armstead, they're doing an unbelievable job blocking for Tua. The starting 5 comes up next right here. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Have either of you ever seen that blocked field goal in the Dolphins game?
No.
I've never seen that in my life.
No, I'm with Collinsworth. I've never seen it before. The running start. Obviously, you got to time it out. But yeah,
Bill Belichick reinventing football once again.
no, that's awesome. But then again, if he's wrong by a second, he's either offsides or he has to come to a complete stop. So the thing about it is that every team has the same pre-snap routine in terms of the holder looks at the kicker, waits for the nod from the kicker, and then the holder looks at the center. There is no hesitation. There is no double hut. Okay. Once the kicker says, I'm ready to go.
There will be.
Yep. That's what will have to come about but here's the other thing that happens. The play clock oftentimes is very close to the end on kicks. The kicker takes their time. They find their spot. You can make the 6 new guys come on as blockers and what have you. You take a look at, you're almost always in single digits, oftentimes less than 5 seconds to go on a play clock when a kick is attempted. Ambien, I was taking pills there. I'm not good with pills. So I probably didn't look so good. Yeah, fam. I mean, in theory, he's trying to force a punt or, block a kick, something like that. Only chance to still win. But yeah, I thought he was surrendering, when he didn't call the timeout on first down. Am I worried? No, I didn't have high hopes for this Giants team anyway. And I'm guessing, by the way, he's going to miss a month. My fear is he's going to come back sooner. You come back on a sprained ankle, less than 100%. The ankle's never right the rest of the year. But he's going to feel the pressure. He's playing for a contract.
It's funny, and I didn't even see that crap at the end because when he didn't call the timeout on first down, I switched to the Colorado game.
There you go.
I was able to recover the starting 5 intros and outros, by the way.
Hey, how about that? Let's see. I don't have a line on the Dolphins Broncos yet.
I don't either.
The Pittsburgher. Well, I'm downtown, so.
Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us. We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Gary Danielson to join us at the top of the hour. Chris Landry and Edgar Thompson to join us in the 8 o'clock hour as we talk plenty of football on a Football Monday. But let's recap the weekend that was, shall we? It is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Mark. We have 8 2-0 NFL teams, and 2 of them are the Dolphins and Bucks. How about that? Dolphins were up 17-3 at the half last night. Mostert with 121 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. The defense with 4 sacks forced 2 turnovers. Tua completed 70% of his passes for 249, a touchdown and interception. A workmanlike road performance. Got a little hairy late. Patriots were driving to tie it. Approaching the red zone. Dolphins got a stop on 4th and 4. Miami gets out of New England 2-0 with 2 road wins to start the year, 24-17. Patriots 0-2 for the first time since, well, Tom Brady came off the bench in 2001. How'd that work out? By the way, Tampa Bay 20-17, hot, tired. They got the Bears backed up. Can the defense hold on? Fields has just taken the Bears the length of the field and scored a touchdown, their best drive of the day. Last time he had it, they tried a screen play coming out of their end zone. That doesn't seem like the best play call in the world. Shaq Barrett thought it was brilliant, however. He picked it off. All he had to do was fall forward 4 yards for a pick 6. His first ever touchdown in the NFL. He dedicated it to his daughter, who passed away a few months ago in an accidental drowning accident. Okay. Bucks are 2-0. Baker Mayfield, 317 yards and a touchdown to, well, you know who, Mr. Evans. 27-17 Bucks. They're in first, or at least tied for it, with the Falcons. Man, did the Packers blow it yesterday.
Did they ever? But they only blew it by a point, David, and that's really the important part of how they blew the game.
Not that we pay attention to these things, but Mark, you had Green Bay, and how many points were you getting in that game?
2.
And here's the best part. In some places, people like Mark were only getting 1.5 points. But Atlanta, with a touchdown and 2 field goals in the fourth quarter to come from 24 down and win it 25-24. Jordan Love was efficient again. I mean, 3 touchdown passes, a couple of nice scrambles. I mean, you know, he's looked capable. He's pretty decent, actually. Packers couldn't put Atlanta away. Atlanta made them pay, unless you had the Packers and the points. Josh Allen made up for his Monday Night Football performance. He had 3 TDs. The Bills spanked the Raiders 38-10. Dallas and the Jets went how we thought it would, because you know who's quarterbacking for the Jets? Zach Wilson. And despite everything that the Jets are saying about Zach Wilson sucks. There you go. Threw 3 interceptions yesterday, completed less than 50% of his passes. Granted, he's going against the Cowboys defense, and this just in, they are really good.
And the Jets offensive line is as bad as we thought it was.
Plays, by the way, in the game, the Cowboys ran 83 of them, and the Jets ran 46. Tough to win that way. Tough to compete that way. Dallas 30-10. Cowboys are 2-0. Kansas City got a much-needed win, despite 3 turnovers and 12 penalties. The Jacksonville offense was 0 for the red zone. And I mean literally. Not only did they not score a touchdown, Trevor Lawrence didn't complete a pass in the red zone all day. 17-9 Chiefs over the Jags. Mark, nobody can lose like the Chargers. Honestly, it is an art form. An art form. If you ever back the Chargers again, I swear, I don't care where we're doing the show from. I'm going to take my headset off. I will get to you by the end of the show. I am going to beat you about the head and chest. Stop it already. They're the Chargers, okay? Like yesterday, Herbert throws for 300 plus, 2 touchdowns, doesn't turn it over, yet they lose to the Titans. They're better than the Titans.
Yes, they are, David.
But in the rain, Nick Folk with a 41-yard field goal in overtime, 27-24 Tennessee. Chargers are 0-2. Why?
Because they're the Chargers.
Thank you, Mark. Finally. Indy. Man, they look good in the first half before Anthony Richardson got a concussion, although Minshew came off the bench to a touchdown pass. The one heartwarming story in the game, John Mechie. He tore his ACL his final year at Alabama, gets drafted 2 years ago, gets leukemia, misses all of last year, inactive week 1, active yesterday, caught a 17-yard pass. John Mechie hadn't played in a meaningful football game in 2 years, and he's 100% healthy from leukemia. Texans lost to the Colts 31-20. The Bengals are trying out this 0-2 thing again. Worked for them last year.
Oh.
Yeah, because for the first half, they scored a field goal in Cleveland. And in the first half against the Ravens, their only touchdown was a punt return. It took till late third quarter, 7 quarters in, before Joe Burrow and the offense scored an offensive touchdown. Burrow tweaked his calf late in this one. You know who looked pretty good? Lamar Jackson in the revamped passing game. Didn't look so good week 1. Looked a lot better week 2. Baltimore goes into Cincy. They remembered the playoff loss. They said this was personal. 27-24. Bengals in an 0-2 hole again. Washington, craziest game of the day. So Denver's winning 21-3, only to have Washington come all the way back and have a 35-24 lead late. All right. Broncos end up kicking a field goal. Don't recover the onside kick. Get the ball back with like 30 seconds to go. They got 180 yards to go to score a touchdown. They get it to midfield with 3 seconds to go. Russ throws a Hail Mary. It's deflected up in the air twice, caught by a Bronco for a touchdown. Now they line up for the 2-point conversion. A DB tackles a guy in the end zone. No call, no interference. Washington wins 35-33. Nuts.
They don't like to call penalties late in games and in overtime. Because he was tackled.
Right. I mean, Gene Steratore does the officiating for CBS. Gene, 3 times a year we'll say an official got it wrong. Even Gene said, I don't know, I looked a little early. He might have influenced that one. Really, you think? Mark, we have to stop this whole home field advantage thing. I mean, we can give the numbers, like home teams won like 53% 2 years ago, and I think last year road teams might have actually won a couple more games than the home teams. I won't mention the fact that road teams are 18-12 in the first 2 weeks so far this year. But if ever the Lions were going to win a game at home, wasn't it supposed to be yesterday?
I guess.
I mean, the city of Detroit hasn't been this cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs about the Lions in at least 30 years. Some say 65. They dedicate the Barry Sanders statue on Saturday outside of Ford Field. I mean, even Barry saying nice things about the Lions. Goff hadn't thrown an interception in 5 years or so, something like that. 400 passes anyway. He throws a pick 6. They're down 10, but he rallies them. 2 scores. They force overtime. Yeah, the Seahawks won the toss. They go down and Geno Smith touchdown. Seattle in overtime beat the Lions 37-31.
Speaking of penalties, Aiden Hutchinson was tackled on the game-winning play by Seattle, and they didn't call that either. So
it's interesting.
It goes, David.
It's interesting, Mark. When Micah Parsons rushes the passer, he draws holding penalties. When Aiden Hutchinson rushes the passer, he doesn't draw holding penalties. Okay. Not that there's a star status system in the NFL either. No. The Giants with their biggest comeback since the Truman administration. No. Seriously. They were down 21 points in the third quarter. They came back. They won at 31-28. Saquon Barkley hurt his ankle, however. They don't think it's broken, but they think it's badly sprained. He ain't going to play Thursday night at San Francisco. We'll see how many weeks he misses. Listen, the Niners beat the Rams 30-23, but here's the important thing. The Rams were getting 7.5, and with 4 seconds to go, it was 30-20, and Sean McVay decided he was going to kick a field goal on the final play of the game to lose by 7. Did I mention the spread was 7.5? He had a chance to kick that very same field goal the play before when there was like 10, 11 seconds left on the clock. Kick the field goal, then you can line up for the onside kick. Because there's no chance to win unless you line up for the onside kick. Yeah. Brock Purdy's still undefeated in the regular season in the NFL. 2 Monday Nighters tonight. New Orleans at Carolina at 7:15. New Orleans a 3-point favorite to get to 2-0. And the Browns a 2-point favorite in Pittsburgh. It's been 30 years since that's been the case. Cleveland looking to go 2-0. The home teams both trying to avoid 0-2 starts. Mentioned the Rays lost to the Orioles 5-4 and 11. Toronto won. They're technically the 5 seed. Texas is now fallen back to the 6 seed, a game ahead of Seattle, who got beat by the Dodgers, and the Dodgers clinched the West in doing so. Houston's a game and a half up in the West after their win over the Royals. Twins lead is 7 in the Central. Their magic number is 6. The Marlins swept the Braves. 16-2, by the way, was the final yesterday.
And they took the safety themselves late in the game to avoid having to snap the ball from inside their own 2-yard line.
And with the Cubs collapsing, because they just got swept by the Diamondbacks, the Marlins and Cubs are tied for the final playoff spot. Do you know who owns the tiebreaker? The Marlins. Here's what you need to know. The Marlins own the tiebreaker on the Cubs, the Diamondbacks, and the Reds. The only team they don't own tiebreaker against is San Francisco. Fortunately for the Marlins, they're 2 games back. Yeah. Mets beat the Reds to help the Marlins cause. They're a half a game out of the wild card. What else we got? Pittsburgh beat the Yankees 3-2. Yanks are still 2 games above 500. They're trying to keep that 30-year streak of being above 500 alive. Cardinals edge the Phillies, Tigers over the Angels. Ohtani, by the way, left the team, cleaned out his locker. He already flew back to Japan. He says it's to have surgery. Yeah, he's done with the Angels. San Diego beat Oakland. Golf, Sahith Theegala won the tournament in Napa. Justin Thomas finished T5, Max Homa T7. By the way, a whole bunch of Ryder Cuppers played in that World Tour event in England. Ryan Fox beat all of them. 7 of the top 13 are European Ryder Cuppers. Denny Hamlin won at Bristol on Saturday night. They're still doing that NASCAR thing, Mark.
That's what I've been told.
In fact, that was a playoff elimination. 4 of the 16 drivers got eliminated. You've heard of some of these guys. Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick in his final year, eliminated from the playoffs. Ricky Stenhouse and Michael McDowell, the 4 of them are out. Ross Chastain keeps falling back in the standings. He's now tied for 9th. He's got to get it together. He has not had a good 2-3 months, quite frankly, since he won. College football polls are out. Georgia's number 1 in both. Michigan's number 2 in both. What's interesting is in the AP poll, Florida State's 4, and the coaches poll, they're 3. Miami, by the way, ranked in both. They're 20th in the AP, 21 of the coaches. Florida ranked by the AP, not ranked by the coaches. So Gator fans, stop blaming the media. We love you more than the coaches do. By the way, I love the fact that Tennessee's ahead of Florida in both polls. They have the same record. They played, Florida won. And
Convincingly.
Florida, right. And Florida lost to Utah, who's ranked in the top 10.
Correct.
Right. And okay, once again. Colorado 19th in the AP and in the coaches. Messi didn't play for the first time with Inter Miami. They were on the road in Atlanta on turf. And he didn't play. And 65,000 showed up thinking he would, and they paid like $300 a ticket. Ouch. They lost 5-2, did Inter Miami. And Mike Babcock had to resign as the Columbus Blue Jackets head coach. He hadn't even coached a game yet. Hell, I don't even know if training camp started yet.
It hasn't.
He was the head coach for 78 days, but apparently he went to some players. He said, show me your pictures on your iPhone. He claims it was all to try to, family photos, get to know these guys. Some of the players thought it was really touching and heartwarming, and some of the players think he's a creep, and so Mike Babcock was forced to resign. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I think that covered it. Golf, NASCAR, hockey even. I think we got it covered.
Played the hits and a few B-sides, David. You definitely had it covered.
I tried to. Tried to be the DJ there, at least give you like 40 seconds of that hit. give you one verse, then go to the next one.
That Babcock story is wild.
Nuts.
Asking players for their phones, going through their pictures. Players think it's an invasion of privacy. They ended up agreeing with the players, and Babcock's out. Miller and Moulton. Gary Danielson next.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, Ambient, people were shocked that he got this job. I mean, when he got fired in Toronto and what everybody said about him and, years of verbal and mental abuse. I mean, I will say what he did to Marner was appalling. Brings Marner in when he's a rookie, asks him questions about some of his teammates. Marner tells him, and then in front of everybody in the open room, okay, he outs Marner. I mean, that's just, he should have been fired that day. But people were shocked he got the Columbus job.
Hey, real quick, SportsCenter just pulled up a graphic, and I'm debating with myself if I'm seeing this properly. Were the Cardinals in the NFC East at one point?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Oh, forever. Well, first of all,
the Atlanta Falcons were in the NFC West.
And so were the Saints. The NFC West for the longest time was the Niners, Rams, Falcons, and Saints.
That is so dumb.
It was a 5-team division: Giants, Eagles, Redskins, Cowboys, Cardinals, who were in St. Louis until 87 or thereabouts. But yes, that was the NFC East. And then when they moved to Arizona, they stayed in the NFC East for a while. I think into the mid-90s.
Wow,
Yep.
that's dumb.
No, and it's, Canada Relief, I'm glad you say that. Felipe, when I first got to Florida, I covered one of the first Dolphins games I covered was a really big late regular season showdown between Peyton and the Colts and the Dolphins, in which the Colts won it. And the Colts ended up finishing first in the East, and the Dolphins ended up being a wild card.
Oh my gosh, wait.
Yeah.
How long were the Colts and the Dolphins in the same division?
A long time because
the Colts were in Baltimore.
Right.
Oh, right.
And so when they moved to Indianapolis, which is not that far, but they kept them in the same division.
But hold up, was Peyton drafted by the Baltimore Colts?
No. They moved to Indianapolis in 84, 83, 84. 84, because when they drafted Elway, they were still Baltimore. So it was within a year that I think they moved. Well, you think about it. I mean, why is Dallas in the East? And believe me, it's been brought up in league meetings. The Cowboys don't want to leave the East, and the other teams in the East don't want them to leave.
And the networks don't want them to.
No.
There's your biggest reason.
Right. Fox loves having Cowboys Eagles twice, Cowboys Washington twice, Cowboys Giants twice. Love it.
I mean, where would you put them?
Well, in theory,
in the West, or no?
Well, yes. See, it worked. Remember when we had East, Central, West? You could have found a way to put them in the Central. Remember, Felipe, you're too young to remember. Okay, the Bucks were in the NFC Central. You had the Black,
by the way.
Okay, for a long time.
Wow, that's
In the mid-90s, the division was the Vikings, the Bears, the Packers, the Lions, and the Bucks. Yeah.
Here we go.
Do you have Gary?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and we're very thankful that you're starting your week with us here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Gary Danielson is kind enough to join us once again. He, of course, of CBS Sports, little SEC Big Ten action. It was SEC on Saturday, Georgia defeating South Carolina. It'll be Big Ten this coming Saturday night when Iowa takes on Penn State. Gary, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to another weekend, going back to Penn State. Haven't been there in a while.
Before we get to the game you did, I'm curious, Gary, when Florida beat Tennessee and now Florida just owns the Vols, did you have a team when you were playing that you just felt you were either equal to or better than but couldn't beat in their place that you ever had, or the vice versa, that a team that maybe you weren't as good as, but when they came to you, you always had their number?
Well, in high school, we always...
Come on now.
Divine Child was a power, Gary. You had no problems with anybody.
We were. We always beat Holy Redeemer. They were just... I don't know. It was pretty hard for me to tell you the truth. Every game was a pretty good challenge. I really never took anybody for granted like that. I had their number now. Did you just meet me last week or something? I was just wondering.
I think he was just being optimistic. Are
you familiar? I feel like
I am, but
Larry King right now.
But
do you remember that interview?
Yes.
But I figured in all of your playing between Detroit, Cleveland, Purdue, there had to be a team that you just had their number. I wasn't, suggesting that it was against Michigan or Ohio State. I thought there was somebody, a couple years against Indiana that they were really good, and you just they didn't beat you. I thought maybe you had that.
I'm gonna fact check this, and I'm gonna say no.
We'll stick with Holy Redeemer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's been a while. Okay. So, one of the good things, I mean, a lot of good things about your gig. So you got to see Ohio State, Michigan, and now 48 hours ago, you got to see Georgia. What was your impressions?
Right.
What were your impressions of the Dogs?
Well, overall, I would say that they still have overall great talent, but no eye-catching talent on the defensive front seven where you go, well, there's for sure a guy the defense has to game plan against. And they've had that for a good run of 3 years now, maybe even 4 years up front. However, in retrospect, and I wish I would have done it a little bit more as I watched the game, I guess their best player, Javon Bullard, not playing, it really makes a difference for that football team. He was the MVP of both the semifinal and final game, and he is a difference maker. He's the captain of their defense. They've had a couple busts in the secondary. They're still really, really good. But, with the injuries they've had at running back, breaking in a new quarterback, a new offensive coordinator, and without Bullard, I'm willing to say this is a team that's still growing. And I think that's the way that the Georgia fans should look at it, really. And again, I think we talked about this a little bit during the broadcast. They're unique, absolutely unique. And I've been doing it a long time. In 2022 of their two tight ends in Washington and Brock Bowers, Darnell Washington and Bowers. The combination there was devastating for college. The two basically NFL players playing a position that was a little bit different than I'd ever seen. Washington was basically a sixth offensive lineman who was good enough to catch passes, and Bowers was a fourth receiver that also could block as a tight end. That combination I had never seen to the expertise. And so that's still a position that was dominant for them a year ago. That is good now, but different than it was a year ago.
We mentioned the Gators earlier, and I know you only saw parts of that game while heading back to the hotel, but just how the college football world works. And even though it was game 3 of year 2, it was starting to get warm in Gainesville. And just, how significant was that for Billy Napier?
I thought it was huge. I really wasn't as concerned. I don't know if I did it on your show or another show. I thought it was a logical loss at Utah. They're a very physical team playing there. They just don't lose a lot of games. And I wasn't as down on them as everybody else appeared to be. I think Graham Mertz I'll tell you who would love Graham Mertz the way he's playing. Alabama would love Graham Mertz. That's what they need, is a solidifying quarterback who makes the simple plays, and things would be better. And I think the way they run the ball, Billy Napier is off to building this team the way he wants to in the long run. And I thought it was a huge win for Florida, obviously for Napier, but they're impressive. They're very physical. They're different than past Florida teams that were successful when they did it throwing the ball. But, I like the way they play. I think their defenses has shown that they're salty. They're well coached, and I think they're really on the right path. I think that they should be a tough out. I think they compete well. I think, we talk about a lot how Georgia kind of plays like Kirby's attitude. I think Napier's brought that attitude to Florida. I think they've got a good thing going for the future.
Is it as bad in Alabama as it appears to be? I mean, obviously, we know how well they've recruited over the years, but they played 3 quarterbacks. None have looked that good. They couldn't run the ball against South Florida, Gary.
I know. Mark, I'm stumped on this one, I got to say. I mean, everybody's just talking about the quarterback position, and rightly so. That's modern football. You got to have a guy. But, they've got quarterbacks. They recruited it. I don't know if it's the pressure of the modern day social media that has these guys tied in knots. They all look nervous out there. They all look like they're afraid to make a mistake. And they got 4 or 5 of them that were some of the top recruits in the country. And I don't know what it is, to go all the way back when I entered this league, with, even the way Greg McElroy played or A.J. McCarron. You don't really need a superstar when you play for Alabama. They've got plenty of talent, Now, they have had a run of superstar quarterbacks, and they slightly altered the way slightly is not the word. They altered the way they ran their offensive program, became a little bit more finesse. And it looks like Nick would like to go back and be more like the way Georgia plays. And he's having a tough time right now making that transition to be the way Alabama used to be when they were the most balanced team in the SEC. They just can't get there right now. And I'm stumped as to why their offensive line play for the last 2-3 years has not been physical. And as they've tried to become physical again, it has really, really been a problem for them.
I have to admit, I have loved this college football season thus far. I don't know if we have a single great team. We may by the end. Don't know if we have one right now. Texas can beat Alabama one week and be tied with Wyoming going to the fourth the next. Florida State survives Chestnut Hill. The Colorado Dion phenomenon. Okay, it's not just that they're winning. People are watching. If this had happened a year ago, Gary, the Pac-12 would not only be intact, they'd have a hell of a TV deal.
No doubt about it. They're 1 year off on their TV deal, maybe months off on their TV deal, and that whole conference would be alive, I think. They would just say, good luck to USC and UCLA, and they would have survived this. But I don't know if it's an overreaction to the clock rules or it actually has, a small butterfly effect has really changed the feel of these games. But, more like the NFL game, these games, even when teams are outmatched, seem to be able to stay in the game better. Teams, Mark, David, we have talked about this for years, that when you have less talent, you should slow the game down a little bit and put the pressure on the more talented team, the team that's supposed to win. We in the past we've seen it in hockey. Slow it down, throw it off the boards, dump it into the blue over the blue line, and go chase the puck if you don't have stuff. Well, that's what I think these college teams now are doing. They're slowing it down. They're making first downs. They're getting out of the first quarter, making it a game, and all of a sudden, the players on the more talented teams, the teams that are favored, seem to be kind of panicking. They can almost feel the pressure from the outside. So, yes, it feels like even teams that shouldn't be on the field with these teams are making the games closer. And we can't argue with the NFL product, the way they produce tight games. It feels like that's starting to happen into college football right now. The bottom level of talent, yes, there's still the guys that everybody wants. The 5 stars are great players, but the bottom level of talent seems to have risen where, the 3 stars are very competitive, salty players.
It's one thing for the players to panic a little bit, but it also seems that the coaches are, I don't know, panic's not the right word, but they're tightening up in these situations because maybe if it was just, when you've got the Chip Kellys and Lane Kiffin's already complaining that there's not enough plays in games,
right?
That's a tell to me, Gary. I don't know about you, but that's a bit of a tell that the good teams are worried they're not getting enough plays.
I think there's so many little effects, Mark, that has made this. The rules in college football favor the offense so much, the ability to go downfield and block before the ball is thrown. So you can make first downs, and it's draining the clock. And I think, I don't know any other word to use but panic. It does feel like the coaches of the teams, the coaches that are making $6, $7, $8, $10 million a year, can feel the social media pressure of people talking like, what's going on here? These guys are staying with us. And I'm right with you. I watch it. Even in the game we did, Georgia's down. All right, it's 14-3, and it's like, oh my God, sky's falling, and Kirby seemed to handle it right. He goes, hey, it's time in this game. We've got to take every moment. He uses the word moment instead of plays. That's a good twist to it. And his team responded. So there's no doubt that this just minor tweak with the ability of less talented teams to be able to make first downs seems to have slightly maneuvered the battleship in a way that we didn't anticipate.
Safe travels to State College. CBS has a doubleheader. They've got Ole Miss and Alabama at 3:30. Brad and Gary and the crew will be in prime time at Penn State, Iowa and Penn State. This could be the best Saturday of the college football season in terms of matchups. Gary and CBS has two of them. Safe travels, my friend. I'll see you on the weekend.
All right. Good start of this interview. That was pretty funny. I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Miller and Moulton. That's Gary Danielson from CBS Sports. Thanks for listening.
The law firm of Michael F.
Do you
Horner.
know who I am?
Criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing
I
home,
liked it.
auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
That's
won.
I'm totally with you. I actually thought it was a good question. We've asked him so many questions over the years. That was one we had never asked him. I thought it was a good question.
I was fired up. I thought of that question. I honestly thought of that question yesterday. And Gary played for all these, played college, Detroit. I thought maybe in Cleveland versus a run against Pittsburgh or somebody.
Sure. Right. Bengals, something. Right. Yeah.
Holy Redeemer.
Holy
Redeemer. He gets me.
And then him going Seinfeld. Do you know who I am? That's funny. It's funny. Thought I would have to send you my resume or something. Is this our first time? It's funnier to the two of us than probably everybody else, but that's funny.
God dang.
That's true too. It was right out of the chute. He's got to be thinking, am I on the right show? RG3 did the South Florida Alabama game.
Yep.
With Bob Wischusen, who's the radio voice of the Jets. No, Paul. No. Dion's glasses company made $1.2 million on Friday in sales because of the pub that the opposing coach gave him about his glasses. And then when he, in turn, sent out the video of him giving glasses to his team. I mean, think about it. He gave out 100 sunglasses. That's not 1.2 million. But that little company, and apparently it's a really small company, got 1.2 million in sales in a day. Oh, really? There's a video out there, Paul, in which after the opposing coach made his comments about, my mama raised me to take my hat and sunglasses off when talking to people, that Dion, the next morning at a team meeting, had like 6 people come in with boxes of sunglasses, and that's sunglasses to everybody in the room. By the way, did you see Dion's mom?
No.
Oh, yeah, post-game locker room. He said, there's 2 things that get me mad. When people say bad things about you all, and when people say bad things about my mama. Okay. And so he takes the mic and
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up with us, so to speak. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We got 8 2-0 NFL teams, and 2 of them are the Bucs and the Dolphins. Hot damn. Mark, since 2007, you start 2-0. 75% of the 2-0 teams make the playoffs. So we got 8 teams right now. We could have 10 after tonight. The 2 road teams who are both favored, New Orleans and Cleveland. It's a doubleheader Monday Night Football. Not so sure about this Monday Night Football doubleheader thing. The NFL seems to want it. Don't know if anybody else likes it, but early game at around 7:10, late game around 8:15. But it's New Orleans and Carolina early, Cleveland to Pittsburgh late. That's why I'm in Pittsburgh. We're going to do the late one this week. We do the early one next week. The Bucs and the Eagles, 2 of the 2-0 teams, are the early Monday nighter next week.
And is this the completion for you, finally? Your run now of NFL stadiums, you have completed it as
This
of
will
tonight?
be it. Yes, this will be it.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
That in the short time that you've done this with Thursday Night Football, now Monday Night Football, and obviously a lot of Sunday games on Fox as well. But Fox, you were limited to a lot of NFC-type games. The Thursday night game got you into a lot more places. But now, what is this, year 5?
Year 6.
Year 6, and you finally get to every stadium in the National Football League.
Did 4 years with Fox, Thursdays and Sundays. And even we got a game at the LA Coliseum. Okay, for, let's see, it was, we had a couple games at the Coliseum. But Drew Brees got hurt in the Coliseum. I remember that. So, but yeah, we had a few games there. We had the Packers and the Rams, had the Saints and the Rams in the Coliseum for some until SoFi was ready. So yeah, I'm very lucky, and I hope I've conveyed that over the years. And this now completes it. Been to done a game from every NFL stadium after tonight, but 8 2-0 teams since 2007. All right, so that's almost a generation, right? This is year 17. So in the last 16 years, if you start off 2-0, 75% of the 2-0 teams make the playoffs. We're on a hell of a run this decade, Mark. In the previous 3 years, we've had 24 teams start off 2-0. 20 of the 24 have made the playoffs, including all 6 who started 2-0 last year. So I'm going to put you on the spot, young man. You ready?
Yes, I am.
These are the 8 2-0 teams, and it could grow to 9 or 10 if the Saints and or Browns win tonight. But of the 8 we currently have, Tampa Bay, Baltimore, Atlanta, San Francisco, Dallas, Philadelphia, Washington, and Miami. What's interesting is of the 8, 6 are in the NFC. Only Baltimore and Miami right now, the only 2-0 teams in the AFC. Obviously, Cleveland can join them tonight. So, but of those 8, statistically, Mark, in the last generation, if you will, 6 of those 8 would make the playoffs. So give me the 2 that right now you would not bet on.
Washington.
Okay.
That's the easy one.
That leaves you Tampa Bay, Baltimore.
And Atlanta. I don't care about them. It leaves you with Atlanta or Tampa Bay, and you have to take one of those 2 teams. That's really what it boils down to me.
I agree. And for the record, in my season picks, I have Atlanta sneaking in as a 9 and 8, 7 seed in the NFC. And we talked about this during the week. This Atlanta-Green Bay game that Green Bay blew in the fourth quarter, up 12, this could really come back and haunt them come into the season wild card time.
I hate doing this, but I didn't think Tampa was a playoff team when the season started.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Tampa. I don't like doing that. The show's on in Tampa. I don't want the folks in Tampa sending threatening texts to me going, how are you picking against the Bucks? But if I were to pick a team with Washington, it would be Tampa Bay.
Now, we all, in our mind, Miller and Moulton on the air, because it's what we do for a living, we all made our picks publicly. You and I did not have Tampa making the playoffs. I believe I had Baltimore. Did you?
I did.
Okay. I had Atlanta.
I did not, but I have them as a 9 and 8 team missing the playoffs. I had Dallas in and Atlanta out with the same record.
We both have San Francisco in. We both have Dallas in. We both have Philadelphia in. Neither one of us had Washington in. So for the 2 of us, Tampa Bay and Washington are the 2 teams for us to easily circle, because at the beginning of the year, which was all of 10 days ago, we did not think they were going to the playoffs. Now, Mark had the Dolphins in the playoffs. I have them with a winning record missing the playoffs. If I could have a mulligan of all my picks right now, that would be the mulligan I would want, because obviously I did not think Aaron Rodgers was going to last 4 plays. And I also thought that the Dolphins were going to lose to the Chargers week 1 and beat the Patriots last night and start off 1-1. So now let's go the other way. Well, I'll tell you what. How about we wait? No, I'll jam it in here. So 0-2. Last 3 years, 24 teams have started 0-2. How many have made the playoffs?
Out of the 24, probably 3.
1. The Bengals last year.
The Bengals last year. Okay.
Yes. So, right. So, and since the same period of time, 2007, been 131 teams now that have started from 07 to last year, 16-year period of time, 131 teams, 13 made the playoffs, 10%. So in the last 16 seasons, you start 2-0, 75% you go to the playoffs. You start 0-2, 10% you go to the playoffs. We have 8 0-2 teams right now. We could have 10 after tonight. In theory, then only one of them's making the playoffs. Minnesota, Denver, Houston, the Chargers, the Bengals, Arizona, Chicago, New England, Carolina, and Pittsburgh can join them. Playoff teams from a year ago were Minnesota, the Chargers, and the Bengals. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had both the Chargers and Cincinnati making the playoffs. Looks like I'm going to be wrong about one of them if statistical data tells us anything. I'll take the Bengals, David, just because I haven't winning the damn Super Bowl.
Well, then you better take them.
All right, time now for our play of the day. Felipe, what do you got for us?
Well, there was obviously a lot of dramatic football action over the weekend. You know, Tyler Lockett had a game-winning touchdown in overtime, but I will not let this go unnoticed because the Marlins swept the Braves and Jazz Chisholm hit back-to-back grand slams.
Moulton comes set. The first pitch, the Jazz is swung on and hit high and deep. Right center field. You gotta be kidding me. Oh my goodness. A grand slam for Jazz Chisholm Jr. His second in as many days. 5-0 Miami here in the bottom of the third.
Say what you say. Do what you do, baby boy.
Jazz Chisholm Jr., the first Marlin in franchise history to have back-to-back grand slams in back-to-back days. Marlins win big on Sunday, and if the season ended right now, they'd be in the playoffs.
They would. They win the tiebreaker with the Cubs. They own tiebreakers against the Cubs, against the Reds, and against the Diamondbacks. Only team they don't win a tiebreaker against is the Giants.
Unfortunately for them, the Giants have been losing and are trying to figure out a way to get right out of this playoff race.
As are the Cubs, by the way. As are the Cubs. Disastrous weekend for them. So 2 weeks left of the baseball season. Both the Rays and Marlins are playoff teams. Rays clinched the playoff spot yesterday despite the loss. Felipe is about to get paid thanks to his Miami Marlins.
Knock on wood, David. Knock on wood.
Both teams in the playoffs, and the Dolphins and Bucks 2-0. Huh. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Gotta say, man, meaningful September baseball feels good.
Isn't it fun?
It's fun. I mean, it's every game. I'm like, we need to win. Come on now. They got to sweep the Mets, man.
That was a good tweet, fam.
Yeah, fam, I saw that.
Is that 5 or 6 for Royce Lewis Grand Slams already in his career?
By the way, it's funny they showed Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups with Kyle Lowry in a box at the Colorado game, and then as soon as they showed the TV shot, Chauncey Billups stood up and walked away.
Yeah, which I don't understand why. Actually, I mean he's the alum,
right? He's the alum. I guess Lowry is a spectator, quote unquote.
But
people are freaking out and saying tampering.
Please, in the NBA?
Yeah, for real.
I mean, there's constant tampering. So,
especially with the Heat.
Besides, Chauncey Billups is what, the coach in Portland? I mean,
yeah.
You know. Now, if it was Damian Lillard and Eric Spoelstra, but I do. The Pirates stadiums, I'm 2 blocks from the river, tops. The PNC Park is right there. It's beautiful.
I'd like to go to PNC Park.
They were running the bases after the game when I got to the hotel room. I could have had a very early flight to Pittsburgh yesterday, but chose to make it easy on myself, and I flew in mid-afternoon. But the Yankees were in town. I probably should have taken a morning flight and gone to the game. Just to take in a game at that beautiful ballpark. Going to walk to the game. I think we're going to walk the Clemente Bridge.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$22 before the hour. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? We're Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry at the top of the hour. Edgar Thompson, who covers the Gators for the Orlando Sentinel 1 hour from now. How about them Gators, huh? Hey. You heard it on this show. They were going to win. And speaking of winners, considering how much grief, and boy, do we deserve it, that we get for picking so many losers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how great of a weekend we just had. Not just both the Bucks and the Dolphins winning to get off the 2-0 starts. Not just the Gators beating the Vols again to get ranked at least in one top 25. Mark Miller made his picks. Mark, how'd you do?
Back-to-back winning weeks, 3-2, David.
Mark, I made my picks.
And you made a lot of them.
Not as many as I wanted to, though. I left winners on the paper. But of the 7 picks that I made, how many did I get right?
I believe you got 4 right, David.
That's a winning week.
Sure is.
And Lee Sterling with another winning week on the show. Nothing, Miller and Moulton, nothing but winners. That's our motto. T-shirts, let's get them made. Come on, Miller and Moulton, we give you nothing but winners. Then underneath it in parentheses, we'll put except for the hosts, ... But that's what we're going with. There you go. Both Lee and one of the 2 hosts on this show picked the Gators to win outright. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I thought it'd be a close game. I just didn't see the Gators winning. I thought that in the end, Tennessee would have more in the second half, and that was completely inaccurate. The Gators kept getting better in that football game.
We'll say Napier was very conservative, though. Very good. He got about 2/3 of the way. That was like a race car driver back in the day, Mark. He's got the field lapped, and he's not running all out. He's just kind of, and then you're watching the NASCAR race, and the guy in second's taking a second off the lead with every lap, and you start doing the math going, is he going to hold on to this? All right, Napier just kind of said, nah, we're not going to throw the ball anymore. We're at 3 scores. We're good. So it'll be interesting if they get in a tight spot in the future and he's got a lead. Is he going to play it that conservative or not? But I will say there was a theme. It was a funky weekend in college. You had not a good weekend of games. And this weekend could be the best weekend of the year. And last weekend was a pretty good weekend. And so there were a lot of trap games this week. Wyoming, Texas, 30-point favorite. It was 10-10 going to the 4th. Yet Ohio State, Western Kentucky, probably a better team than Wyoming. Okay. And Ohio State beat them by 7.5 touchdowns. Notre Dame kind of sleptwalked through Central Michigan after getting off to a good start. We got showdowns this week. By the way, did you catch what Iowa did at the end of their game? See, they got the head coach, his son, is the offensive coordinator.
Right.
And people are very unhappy with the nepotism. They feel he is.
They'd have no problem with the nepotism if the offense looked like a college football team, David.
Correct. That's that. You know what, Mark? You're right. It's like at Florida State 20 years ago. They didn't have a problem with the nepotism. It's just that the minute Jeff Bowden started calling plays, they stopped looking like Florida State. So, you make a dadgum good point. All right. So they didn't have a problem when he hired his kid, except all of a sudden, once he hired his kid, they started looking like a high school offense from 1964. So the AD and the president, they really would like to get rid of the son. And so they got a clause in his contract. He's got to average 25 points a game. Well, they haven't scored 25 points in their first 2 games.
No, and they haven't gotten to conference play yet, where you would assume things are going to get a little tougher.
Right. So they had a game this week, and normally Kirk Ferentz, gentlemanly coach, he's up 3 scores. He'd run out the clock. Might even take a knee in the final minute. Instead, Mark, 30 seconds to go, Iowa's running their offense, baby, and they pound one in with 30 seconds to go. Got to get that scoring average up. Yep. And now he's averaging, around 28 points a game. You throw that extra touchdown on the ball. That adds 2 points to the scoring average. We're only 3 games in the season. 7 extra points. There you go. So we got Sean McVay kicking the field goal down 10 to lose by 7 when the spread was what again?
7.5.
Right. And we got Iowa scoring a late touchdown to cover, by the way, also to cover and to increase my son's scoring average so he can keep his job.
Well,
Meanwhile-
David, he had to cover. You know how many of his players had money on Iowa in that game?
Mark,
not to mention their moms.
It's the only state where college athletes and their family members are betting on college sports. It's only happening in Iowa, not the other 34 states of which you can bet legally on sports. Only in Iowa. And remember, 8 years ago, Will Greer, for the last 8 years, is the only college football player to take performance-enhancing drugs. Only Will Greer. So you wonder why we question the NCAA. No, not at all. Nothing to see here. But okay, if we did a poll question, which we suck at them. We're not good. We're lazy, and we're not good at them, so we don't do them. Some shows do 6 a day. We do 6 a month, maybe. Best football win of the weekend: Bucks, Dolphins, Gators.
Oh, it's the Gators.
You sure? They were only a 6-point dog.
Right. And the Dolphins were a favorite. And the Bucks were a favorite.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So and in terms of needing a win, the importance of a win and a win as an underdog, I don't even think it's close.
Okay.
That it was the Gators.
And it was very impressive. Okay. The Dolphins was workmanlike. The Bucks, got a 2-score lead and held on, made a great play at the end to win by 2 scores. By the way, you got a Chicago sports fan in your life? The Cubs got swept in Arizona. Right now, if the playoffs started today, they'd be out. And the Bears look as if their franchise quarterback's not a franchise quarterback.
David, you're asking the wrong person right now, because you know where I'm from. And you know the teams that I root for.
That is true.
And collectively, they all suck. All of them. No shot at making the postseason. The hockey team has a glimmer of hope to perhaps make the postseason, and I think that's a pipe dream.
I think they have a puncher's chance. Less than 50-50, but a puncher's chance.
So I really don't have a lot of sympathy for the Chicago sports fan right now.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I was just asking if you had one in your life. You may just want to understand their mood the early part of this week. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's not like they play good college football. Between Northwestern and Illinois, they ain't doing anything either. Hopefully, they're a Notre Dame fan. I'll be honest with you. Hopefully, the Chicago sports fan in your life's a Notre Dame fan. They got something to, get happy about. Because between the Cubs, and if they're a White Sox fan, we'll forget about it. But, between the Cubs and the Bears, holy.
Yeah, this Bears thing's going badly.
Mark, it is, because remember, they were 3-4 last year, and how did they finish? 3-14. So this is 12 consecutive losses, by the way. They're coming up. They're getting dangerously close to a calendar year here without a win. I'm just saying.
And when you look at Arizona playing their tails off, I know they've lost, but they have the effort of a team that's trying. Chicago doesn't even look like they have. I mean, there are glimpses of really bad football. And Fields is responsible for a lot of them. So it looks as if you don't have your quarterback.
No, this is the make it happen year. Let's face it, it's year 3. This is also at the end of this year they decide whether they're picking up the 5th-year option. Now, remember, the Bears had the first pick of the draft, and they traded it away. They could have had Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. So that's something. Forget the fact, back in the day, they could have had Mahomes and Deshaun, and they took Trubisky. And no. Let's talk about,
we've already moved on from that cluster blank of a draft.
Right. That was a whole GM and coach and quarterback ago. No. We're just talking about the last 6 months here. Remember, they had the number 1 pick of the draft. Now, we don't know if Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, whether or not I have to admit, surprisingly effective. Better than that, even.
No, he's
But
looked good. Now
now
he's hurt in both games, though, David.
Yeah, I know. Well, they got him outside the pocket, and this just in. They hit you hard on Sundays. And they're faster. They're bigger. They're mean. Anyway, back to the Bears. Mark, hell, they could be in line to draft another one this year.
All right. You remember Caleb Williams' father said
right,
that if the wrong team has the first pick, we've got no problem going back to college for another year. If the Bears have the first pick, would you go back to college for another year? No, I'm not kidding here. I know it sounds fun and all that. If the Bears have the first pick and you're Williams, are you thinking about, you're going to make a couple million. It's not going to be the money you make in the NFL, but you should be able with NIL to make a nice living for another year.
Right.
This is not prior to NIL. He can make legit money.
I'm being very serious when I say this. Remember, the Bears also have a new president. That's Kevin Warren, the guy who used to be the commissioner of the Big Ten. Now, the number one thing on his table is to get a new, place to play and all that. But I would literally, if I was Caleb Williams' dad, I would have a secret meeting with Kevin Warren, and I would say, "You keeping the GM and the coach?" And I know you didn't hire either one. And I know they've only been here 2 years, but you keeping them? Yes or no? I need an answer, by the way, right now. Because if they're not fired before I have to determine whether or not I'm entering the draft, I'm not entering the draft. Or I'll just tell you right now, I ain't playing for you. I just tell you right now, because I'm not playing for them. That ain't happening. So it's up to you. It makes no difference to me. I can pull an Eli. I can pull an Elway. I can, or I can go back to USC. I can make $7-10 million. I might be able to make $1 million a game at USC. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can make more with one more year at USC than I'll make in my first 2 years in the league. Make no difference to me.
Big Ten football or that division.
Right.
What do you want me to play?
It's tough with a straight face to look right at him and say, I've always dreamed of a fall day in Madison.
When I came to USC, it was always about a Big Ten championship.
I grew up thinking about the old Oak and Bucket.
No?
Sorry. He's laughing in the corner. I'm sorry. This meeting is not going as well as I thought. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention it. And we're 2 weeks in, by the way. 2 weeks. They've lost 12 in a row, though. Damn. That's a lot. That's tough to do. But the Dolphins are 2-0, both on the road, thank you very much, which is where you want to go to win games. Road teams are 18-12 so far in the NFL. That's 60%, ladies and gentlemen. Underdogs, by the way, are 18-11-1 against the number, which puts us in a very difficult spot tonight because the road teams are favored. So which trend you going with tonight, Mark? New Orleans and Cleveland on the road, or Carolina and Pittsburgh, the underdogs?
Probably going to be a split for me, David. Probably one of each.
But you got to pick the right split.
No, that's the hard part. That's the really hard part. Chris Landry, breaking down everything that happened over the weekend in the National Football League. We'll talk with him next right here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Morning, Chris.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. And how are you guys?
Doing well. Doing well. Gators were pretty impressive on Saturday.
Yes, they were. Yeah, they. I thought they would play really well, and I wasn't. Haven't been impressed with Tennessee's defense. I kind of thought that. Thought they might happen. Thought it might happen for them. I thought the opportunity was there for Florida, so I'm happy for Billy, and we'll see what they can do with it now. They got some positive vibes, which is they needed that badly.
Boy, did they really badly. He really did. He really did.
Morning.
Morning, David. How are you?
I'm good. What were you guys talking about? Who looked really bad?
No, the Gators looked really good.
How good Florida looked.
And he needed it really bad.
Oh, yeah. Ugly bag of water. I'm at the Fairmont in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
Downtown. 2 blocks from the Permane Brothers and 2 blocks from the river.
So you're in the Strip District then?
Is that what I am?
If the Permane Brothers Strip District, I believe downtown is the area you are at, I think.
Yeah, I'm at the Permane's that's labeled Permante's Bar and Grill.
Can't help you.
Yeah. Whole bunch of restaurants and what have you around it, though. It looks like there's a little plaza. So, but have you taken a look at the Bama tape?
No, not yet. I watched enough of it, live to get a feel for it. But no, it's with NFL Sundays. I don't get a chance to do much tape until today. So with NFL Sundays, watching the games, get a peek a little bit on Sunday morning of a couple of things. I looked at Florida tape and
okay. Well, we may get into that then. I know we bring you on to talk Bucks, Dolphins, and Jags, but if you've watched the Gators tape, there's a few people interested in them around here, Chris. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah, whatever y'all want. You know, you can go anywhere y'all want to go. Yeah, it was big.
Now, Mr. Butte, that camera angle was because they resumed the game, but the network has its own rules, and they had not approved their employees to come back and put them in what they still deemed as harm's way. And so that's why there were 2 or 3 stationary cameras, and that's why those were the angles that you got there for a while. So,
hey, I saw. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw one of the funniest things I saw. I'll tell you real quickly. Seahawks Lions yesterday. Geno Smith is get called for intentional grounding,
right?
And the official is announcing. I don't know if you said official is announcing, and Geno Smith comes in and says, and he says the official puts his hand out and says, "I'm talking to America."
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
it is the 8 o'clock hour, just like that, on a football Monday, largely, albeit a big Rays-Orioles series and a Marlins sweep of the Braves to get themselves very much in the playoff picture in the National League. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Chris Landry joins us every Monday at this time. He of LandryFootball.com, and you can follow him on Twitter or X at Landry Football. Chris, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. Happy Football Monday to you guys.
Well, listen, we bring you on to talk about the 3 NFL teams in the state of Florida, but you also watch a lot of college football tape. So we kind of pick your brain before the show and go, hey, what have you seen? And you said, well, actually, I watched a lot of the Gators Vols tape. So got a lot of Gator faithful thrilled with the win. How happy should they be upon further review?
No, real happy. I mean, they needed it. I think a loss would have been more devastating than the win was positive, but it kind of goes hand in hand. They needed to play well in winning decisively in how they won and controlled the game is a big confidence boost internally. I always caution fans. Now, you know how fans are ready to jump off the ship and everything is dying. Now they're going to run the table, right? I mean, that's how fans – but the reality is that game against Utah was very sloppy, very disorganized, very directionless. This game was the complete opposite. I had some concerns about Tennessee coming into this game offensively. They don't have the confidence in Joe Milton that they had in Hendon Hooker, and I thought Florida had a great game plan. I thought they did a really good job on both sides of the ball. I thought offensively they were balanced. They have to run the football. Mertz can make good decisions for him. He's a guy you can win with. He's not going to win for you. I thought they ran the football very well and established the line of scrimmage and controlled this game. Defensively, they looked faster, played faster, more explosive. So I was encouraged, and now we'll see what they do with it and how they build upon it. And I always say it's not good. It's not enough to be good. It's important that you play well or play closest to your best. I thought they gave close to their best performance Saturday.
Well, what did the offensive line figure out between Utah and Tennessee, Chris? Because as you pointed out, they were very balanced, but they couldn't run the ball against Utah really at all, and they were so effective running the ball against Tennessee. That sets up everything. So what did you see from their offensive line that was so much improved between the Utah game and the Tennessee game?
And first of all, Utah's got a better defensive front. So that's the big thing. Tennessee's still not. They're not. Tennessee will never be championship level defense. They're going to rely on their offense. So Tennessee's defensive front jumps around a lot. They try to attack in gaps. And, Utah is more of a point attack centric. And I think teams that are that level good are going to be different and more difficult for any team to go up against. So that was the big difference. But I also thought they cleaned up a lot of things. I thought they were set. They got their cleats in the ground. They know where they were going. I thought in the first game they played slow. And what I mean by that is they just were a little bit hesitant about what they were looking at. I think maybe a lot to do in that first game about, okay, what's the quarterback situation? You know, how's Utah going to play it? I think they were very comfortable in what they were going to see with Tennessee. Tennessee, you know what you get with them. You can stop it or you can't. Last year, a lot of people couldn't. I think this year more people will be able to, but I think Florida was playing with a lot more confidence, more familiarity with the opponent. That was the difference as I saw it.
You know, you made a comment there about Tennessee in which you said they're never going to win a championship with their defense. Isn't that a product of the style of they play offensively? Isn't that what Nick is actually wrestling with? That he feels we need to go back to being more physical on offense because I think it's affected my defense. And that may not make sense, but does it?
It 100% makes sense. And when I say it can never happen, never is kind of too exact. Could somebody win a title in a given year if the stars align? Yes. But Lincoln Riley, never going to win a championship at Oklahoma, is unlikely to consistently win at USC at a championship level unless they modify things that they do offensively to help their defense. In other words, if you're going to go high tempo, spread it out all the time, your defense will never be elite. So to use the basketball analogy is you can be a great shooting team, but what happens in a one-game scenario when you have a bad shooting night? You can't rebound, you can't play defense, you go home. And that's where the issues are. Tennessee last year had a great year. I mean, magical year. But things were off against South Carolina. They didn't lose. They got blown out. It's what you do offensively affects how you play defensively. We call it complementary football. And so it doesn't mean you line up in I formation and run it. No. Michigan is the exact opposite. In the past, nobody's better at the line of scrimmage. Not many people are as good defensively, but against teams that can spread you out and maybe get some points, they can't match points like Michigan against TCU. You have to have balance. You have to be able to throw it, but you have to be able to throttle it down. You have to be just as effective in a 4-minute offense as you are in a 2-minute offense. And the elite teams are not.
He's Chris Landry of Landry Football, LandryFootball.com. Follow him on Twitter or X at Landry Football.
Let's get to some of the action on Sunday. The Dolphins, 2 wins on the road. Tua did it 2 different ways. Obviously, they were able to score really easily against the Chargers and get that offense going with the passing. He had 460-some yards. But against New England, this was a more methodical approach from the Dolphins and really did a nice job offensively of mixing it up.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job offensively. And look, to me, the biggest takeaway was how well they were able to play defensively in situations. And I'm thinking, that's going to be the key is can they play consistent on the defensive side of the ball? Because there are going to be times where people are going to take certain things away or you just are not as sharp offensively. And I thought last night was a division game. They played well against New England, no doubt recently. But to be able to do it differently, I thought was the most positive thing. This team can be as explosive as any offense in the league. That in itself is not enough. You've got to be balanced. You got to be able to run it. You got to play good defense, or else you're going to have a really good regular season and somebody's going to get you in the playoffs. Balance. It's what's taking the Chiefs to the next level and getting them a couple of Super Bowls. It's what the Dolphins will need going forward.
Mostert with 121 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns last night. The defense with 4 sacks and 2 turnovers in the Dolphins win. Listen, it's against 2 0-2 teams, as it turns out, the Vikings and the Bears, but Baker Mayfield's looked the best he's looked in at least 3 years, and Mike Evans can still play. Your thoughts on the Bucs?
Yes. Listen, I'm kind of pumping the brakes on getting too excited because of what you just mentioned. But you can only play who you play. Baker's played well. Am I going to sit here and tell you that I'm really comfortable that he's figured it out and we're going to have a full season of Baker making smart decision and mistake proof? I'm not. I want to see it. Mike Evans, you mentioned, big game defensively. I thought they did a really good job. Shaq Barrett played very, very well. Look, 2-0, move on, build off of it. I'm intrigued, and I'll leave it at there.
Jacksonville gets their first win opportunity here against Kansas City. It was built up as a really big game in Jacksonville. Well, Kansas City held Detroit, even though they lost Detroit, they held Detroit, that really good offense, without the pick six to not a lot of points. And Detroit went and scored in the 30s against Seattle on Sunday. They go and play Jacksonville. This Kansas City defense is pretty damn good, Chris.
Yeah, they are. And with Chris Jones back, this gives them a piece that they can really cause some problems. And they really attacked the protection schemes of Jacksonville, and it was the biggest problem that the Jags had offensively. They couldn't get anything on track because Kansas City was just better at the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the ball. So, yeah, that's kind of what we just talked about, and we were talking, and it's certainly applies to the NFL. Is we know the Chiefs can be really good on offense, but it's defensively, and when you can play not only at a pace but at a style where you can aggressively attack people. They did that. They did that very well against a Jags offense that I think is really good. I wouldn't push the panic button. I'm Jacksonville. I know it's a disappointing loss, but I think the Jags will be fine. They can learn from this.
The Bengals going 0-2 again. Is this year different than last?
Yeah, I think it is, because Burrow's, first of all, Burrow's problems are twofold. He's not healthy right now. I mean, that muscle's really bothering him. He is like he's not Patrick Mahomes like, where it feels like Mahomes can come out and be laid off and his timing may be off for a series or two, and he's just going to create and make plays. Burrow is a rhythmic, like Manning, like Brady, like those guys, where he needs work, timing, and he missed basically all the offseason and preseason. So that's affecting him, just like it did affect him in the past. What could be different is he's not real healthy now. And I just don't know that he may not be dealing with this all season. And if he has to sit down again, 0-2 is going to lead to some real difficult issues. You know how that is 2 games doesn't guarantee anything, but you start to go 0-2 and maybe, you're 1-4, and then you're going to have to go on a run at the end of the season where you got no margin for error. So it feels like this might be a hole that the Bengals are digging themselves in that they might not be able to come back from because of what I mentioned with Burrow's health.
We just scratched the surface with Chris Landry. He goes in depth breaking down football, both college and pro. You want to go to LandryFootball.com, LandryFootball.com. At the very least, start following him on Twitter/X at Landry Football. Chris, thanks for getting up early for us, although I know you do it for yourself, and we'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a great one.
Chris Landry, looking good, by the way. Looks like he's dropped some weight.
Yeah, I don't like him at all. Don't like him at all. I was thinking the same thing. He's up early. He looked like he already had a workout in, getting ready to go do a film, and that's when it really bothers me.
I agree. He's got, the hair, it's washed, yet you still got that little beads of sweat on the side. I know. I mean, we can drop these guys for next year. If they get too good looking and lose too much weight, Mark, we can move on to others next year if you want.
Fat guests, David. We need some fat guests on this show. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn, Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wow.
Literally just saw a tweet on it.
Ryan Poles is in Overset. Absolutely. You know, okay, music, I like that. Although I think Mark would be offended by, I can live with Flabby. I think he'd be offended by Flabby.
No, I'm not. I am. I resemble that remark.
We might be flabby, but our picks ain't shabby.
I need a personal trainer.
I had one. I paid for one for 2 years, and it worked. I lost 30 pounds, and I felt a lot better. I got in better shape. I was a lot more flexible. I did that during late in our first act.
I remember that.
The biggest difference it made, he got me a lot more flexible.
What kind of exercises were you doing?
A lot of stretching at first, and then also he had me doing like the ropes and the tires, and it wasn't I never lifted a weight.
Right.
It was all
core strength.
It was an axe. He had me doing a mallet. A big thick. I mean,
sledgehammer.
Yep. He would explain to me. He would say, "Listen, this is why we're doing this. It's going to strengthen this. It's going to stretch this."
Hey, way to repost that tweet. Did you just do it? It just popped in my thing that you reposted the tweet from the show. 8:20.
Probably should have gotten around to it earlier.
Should have had a poll
Usually I do.
session.
Usually I do. Well, we should have had one about 7 years ago, but whatever.
Wait, just more and more evidence as to why the Rams have no fans over the weekend.
Listen, we told you it was coming.
I know. It's embarrassing.
Felipe, it was an NFC championship game.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour." We'll talk with Edgar Thompson of the Orlando Sentinel, talk a little Gators. Could argue it's the biggest win of the Billy Napier era, although remember, they did beat Utah first game last year, which was kind of big at the time. But anyway, but we got some breaking news, Mark.
Yes, we do. Tampa Times and Mark Thompson reporting that the Rays are expected to make a major announcement tomorrow regarding completion of a deal to build a new stadium in downtown St. Petersburg.
Whoa.
Yeah. It would be near their current site, part of the historic gas plant district. They would fulfill their lease at the Trop, so they'd play 4 more years at the Trop, and 30,000 seats, permanent dome, not retractable, permanent. And right now, cost estimated at $1.2 billion. According to Mark Topkin, the Rays are going to pay half. Now, the Rays have said they are seeking investors to help them pay the 600 or so million, and the investors are then going to get part of the team. Mark, there have been many who have wondered, is Sternberg essentially going to get his new stadium and then sell? I mean, you could argue, will the team ever have more value on the market than a year after they open? They'll probably have a terrific attendance year, new stadium, the whole deal, a lot of excitement. And after the 2028 season, would he then sell? So, but listen, if I'm a taxpayer, that's more money than we've ever heard being kicked in by the Rays, right?
Ever.
So the city of St. Pete and Pinellas County are coming up with the other, $600 million. And it is part of an 86-acre redevelopment. It's going to be about far more than just the Rays. It's also supposed to benefit St. Petersburg and Pinellas County. So, okay. But the Rays stay on that side of the bridge, on that side of the river or the bay.
And they'll never, to me, ever draw long-term with the stadium there. They will never be someone who draws at 85% of capacity, if you know what I mean.
Okay, now that's interesting because they're limiting it to 30,000, just like this year they have it limited to 25,000. So 30,000, 80% of that's 24,000.
And they may get their first year, but long term, doing it year in, year out, I don't see it happening.
Well, but just to do the math, Mark, even at what you said, 80%, 24,000, you do that times 81. I mean, that's basically 1.9 million fans. And that's, obviously, if you sold out the season, you would sell 2.4 million. Well, there are average teams. I mean, the Padres situation this year is absurd. They literally have sold out the whole year at 41,000 a game, despite, how bad they've been compared to what they were supposed to be. But so just think in terms of that's the economic reality, the world that the Rays are always going to be playing in. They literally would max out, at 2.4 million. But if they did 80% of capacity, they wouldn't draw 2 million fans.
Now, they're averaging, if I've got this right, I tried to look it up quickly, around 18,000 a game at the Trop this year.
Okay. So what do you say? How about this? A newer, let's assume better. I mean, not many people think highly of the Trop. So let's just say somehow they do it and they do it better. 10% bump. That get us to 19.8. So that's 20,000. Okay. I mean, would that be a realistic, if you're in the Rays marketing department, you go, listen, the next 4 years, we'll do the best we can. But beginning in 2028, we really have to be doing 20,000 a night.
I think that's the number. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but last year they averaged under 14 a game. The year before that, they averaged under 10 a game. And they've been good.
For 15 years. No doubt. And clinched a playoff spot yesterday. Looks as if they're going to be the top wild card. They're 2 back of the Orioles, 3 in the loss column, 2 weeks to go. Orioles magic number's 10 after they split the all-important 4-game series. Rays won the first 2. Orioles won the weekend. Heartbreaker yesterday. 1 out away in the 9th. 3-2, 2 outs, nobody on. Fairbanks trying to get 6 outs out of them. Couldn't get the 6th before giving up the tying run. They lose in 11.
You tell me, Rays fan, new ballpark mean you go more?
Same location.
It's the same location. It's the same really good organization. Mm-hmm. Now the difference is you've got a shiny new ballpark.
Now, what is interesting, though, is with Sternberg admitting he's bringing in investment. Now, he indicated he's bringing in minority investors. And he's going to take their money and give it to the stadium project so that he doesn't have to go into his wallet. It's going to take. Remember the deal he wanted. The example we used was putting Publix's name on the stadium, and his contribution was going to be Publix's money. He's essentially doing the same, or he wants to do the same.
With investors, and now he'll keep the naming rights money for himself.
Right. He'll just own a little bit less of the team.
But with the way franchises valuation has gone up so astronomically, he's not losing any money doing it that way.
This is a massively great day for Major League Baseball, though. Think about in the last 100 days what has happened. Not one, but the last 2 stadium issues that existed in Major League Baseball. Forget Milwaukee and the White Sox. No. They're not going anywhere. Okay. The A's and the Rays futures were dependent on a new stadium. Well, the A's have seemingly resolved theirs and they're moving. The Rays have now seemingly resolved theirs and they're staying. Now, what can Major League Baseball do this offseason?
The one thing that they really want to do, expansion.
There you go.
To the tune of $2.5 billion per expansion franchise that goes directly where, David? Into the owner's pockets.
Thank you, Mark. So let's just call it $2 billion per team. And they go from 30 to 32. That's $4 billion divided by 30. That's $133 million that each owner gets just for getting up in the morning. And then baseball can decide, are we going to go, 8-team divisions and, or 8 4-team divisions like the NFL. I mean, but 32 will be their number.
By the way, that's when Sternberg will sell. He'll build his stadium, he'll get his expansion money, and then he'll get out.
Well, baseball's going to move quickly on this because first off, Nashville's ready tomorrow. Nashville's got the financing, they got the site, the whole deal. They're like, say the word, we could do this deal by the weekend. I will say this is not a good day for Orlando and Pat Williams, because the thought is the one team's going to be east of the Mississippi and one new team's going to be west of the Mississippi, even though I could argue that they actually need both teams to be east of the Mississippi. If you take a look at how you're going to do divisions, you actually need a team further east than you do west, but that's a whole other thing. So, I think Orlando, if they were going to get Major League Baseball, which was a long shot, they needed the Rays to, not come up with a deal where they currently are. So you figure it's going to be Nashville and most people think the leader in the clubhouse is Portland.
Boy, I don't know if Portland's going to be a great baseball city.
Well, we'll see if Vegas is. So, but there you go. This is a big story because there's a lot of dominoes off of this story.
We'll switch from baseball to football. Edgar Thompson and the Gators joins us next on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I did see that, KW. They asked for some banana stuff. RCB, an offer? It doesn't sound like it. It's not like they chose St. Pete over Tampa. Tampa basically never, this last go around, stepped up. I still think he's going to Seattle. I really do. By the way, and it could just be convenience, do you know where he flew to then fly home?
Seattle.
He flew back home out of SeaTac. Which is Seattle Tacoma, for those that don't know the airport. RCB, there's a part of me that, thinks if I'm Tampa, I should play hardball with the Glazers about a new stadium. But I do think Europe is real. And there are current NFL owners who would actually love to move their franchise to Europe. They think it would double, triple the value of their franchise overnight. And considering the Glazers already own European sports properties, Oh, that's exciting.
No offense, I really wanted the Giants to lose because a bunch of people took the Giants in the Survivor League.
Oh, and I'm sure at 28-7.
Like that's
First off, why did they do that?
David, if I showed you the teams that some of the people in the Survivor thing take on a weekly basis, you would want to track them down and beat them.
Wow.
I think people play those with the philosophy sometimes that I'm going to be the contrarian. So when Buffalo gets beat by the Raiders, I'm not the one going down, if you know what I mean. Got a guest here, Felipe.
I got him.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. If you've missed part of the show, you missed Gary Danielson at the top of the 7 o'clock hour, you missed Chris Landry at the top of this hour, you can always go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download what it is that you missed. Hoping to catch up with Edgar Thompson of the Orlando Sentinel, talk about the Gators' big win, David Sampson, Pat Kerwin, and we're going to try it again. The connection didn't work last week. Matt Baker, the Tampa Bay Times, tomorrow. How about that for a little show?
There you go.
Does that work for you?
Let's just hope Matt's phone works this time.
Right.
Or our phone.
Right. either way.
That was very rude of me to blame Matt's phone because we have no idea
Right.
where to throw that stone.
We can certainly step on a coaxial cable on our end just as easily as it can happen on the other. Edgar Thompson, the aforementioned Gators beat writer for the Orlando Sentinel, kind enough to join us. Follow him on Twitter/X at OS Gators. OS Gators. Edgar, it's David and Mark. How you been?
What are we calling it? X or Twitter? I'm still Twitter.
It works for us. Hey, we spoke to you almost 3 weeks ago. We were getting ready for the season. We kind of went through the Gators, strengths, weaknesses, question marks, etc. Well, all right, let's talk Saturday night. What did Saturday night do for this program?
Oh, it was enormous momentum for Billy Napier. We're coming into that game, and people are talking crazy scenarios already, in my opinion, about the direction of this program. That, God, if he doesn't win this one, it's like it might be the end. It's like, guys, we're 16 games into this guy's deal. I get it. I'm front and center for the fact that the football hasn't been looking good, that Utah was a real shockingly poor performance and looked inept at times, honestly. And if they came out and looked, incompetent and non-competitive, then you're suddenly going, man, this is a bigger, this is not going well. But still, Billy Napier was still going to be very secure in his job. But yeah, now it's like, okay, now we're starting to see, the team coming together a little bit, seeing some of the young talent for one. Seeing Graham Mertz is much better than a lot of people were thinking in terms of the way he runs up, and Trevor Etienne is a star. I mean, we thought that coming into the season. I was hearing from practice he's the best player in this team. It's not even close. Well, he looked like it the other night. Eugene Wilson, until he got his collarbone bruised, was looking very good, young talent. So we're seeing some pieces coming together. There's still a lot of football ahead and a lot of challenges ahead, but suddenly you're sitting here going that this team could exceed expectations.
Well, and Edgar, I think you got to with Etienne and how he played, because to me, there haven't been difference makers on the field for the Gators in the last couple of years. Etienne's a difference maker.
He's got acceleration. He's got vision. He's a horse. I tell you, he walked in after the game. He was dressed to the nines, sharp dresser, really nice kid. Look, he's been around it. I mean, his brother's, was a star at Clemson and first-round pick for the Jags. But, man, he can barely fit in pants. I mean, his thighs are so big. I mean, he is put together, and he looks the part. He's a great player. And I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with him. I love Montrell Johnson. I think he's a tough runner. He made a nice play on the screen pass for a touchdown. Good change of pace. Certainly should. You don't want to wear out Etienne and just feed him the ball 25, 30 times. You don't want to turn him into James Wilder back in the day or anything. But the fact is, I think that he's proving that he really needs to be the featured guy.
He's Edgar Thompson. He covers the Gators for the Orlando Sentinel. Follow him on Twitter/X at OS Gators. OS Gators. Is it too simplistic of me to just say they're just so much better coached defensively? I just feel as if the guys are lined up properly on every play. And as ridiculous and infantile as that sounds, Edgar, for much of the last 2 years, I felt like the Gators defensively were just running around constantly.
Oh, well, Trey Dean leaving might have something to do with that. But, yes, there's no doubt. Austin Armstrong has been the biggest difference, I think. And Billy just doesn't go there or want to go there fully. And Billy doesn't like to go anywhere and single out people. Like Etienne even, he said, man, he was on fire tonight, the vision, the instincts. And then he's like, but then Montrell immediately, like he doesn't like to single guys out. So he won't say, yeah, God, Austin Armstrong has just changed everything on that side of the ball because all the other coaches are there again. He is running the same system more or less that Patrick Toney did. He's teaching it differently for one. I think we talked about that the last time, how he's like teaches it differently with, smaller segments of watching film than to walkthroughs and back and forth. So guys are retaining the information and learning it differently. That's one difference. But he's also bringing incredible energy. I mean, Patrick Toney was very phlegmatic. I don't think he really bonded with players. He didn't inspire them. Austin Armstrong, man, just goes. I mean, he is plugged in. Plus, I'll tell you, Brandon Spikes is back, and people watch Swamp Kings, the Netflix documentary. He's featured in that a lot, and everyone remembers him as a player, All-American player here. He's a volunteer assistant. And last week, Scooby Williams, and that's a young man who's really been playing well on defense, number 17. He's been as good as anyone they have on defense this year. He said last week Spikes was a 20 on a scale of 10 and Armstrong was a 15. So they have some guys who are really putting some energy into that program, especially on Tennessee week. So I agree with you. They look schematically better, but they just are playing with more passion. And a lot of times defense is that, just as many hats as you get on the ball.
When you transfer, sometimes it just clicks right away. Sometimes you need a moment. But to me, Graham Mertz became a Gator Saturday night. And that was big for his leadership of that team, for what they're going to accomplish the rest of the year. Obviously, you need the quarterback to go. I thought Mertz made a huge step as the leader of the team on Saturday.
Yeah, he's completing 75.8% of his passes right now, which I think is like 8th nationally. I looked last night. And last year, Anthony Richards was at 53.8. Now, Graham Mertz was only like 57-something at Wisconsin. So he wasn't all great shit. I mean, he comes here with a lesser than 60% completion percentage, 59-something, I think, career, which in this day and age in football, 62 is probably your bare minimum you want from a solid, good quarterback. So he's just doing what they asked of him. He's making these there are a lot of short throws. I mean, he only threw for 166 yards on 18 completions roughly, but he is getting them lined up. He's not missing throws. He's got this offense, he's just being a leader. I'm not saying Anthony was young. I'm not trashing Anthony. Anthony had started one game and was knocked out with concussion. It was against Georgia in 2021. 34-7 loss. So that really wasn't even a start. So he was, and plus I'll tell you, Anthony, we're seeing in the NFL, he's a little injury prone. It gets dinged because of his style. And Graham Mertz, he's resilient. He's not getting hit a ton. He did get hit a lot at Utah, actually, but he showed some resilience there. But he's got the football IQ and the experience and all that stuff that is cliche and the intangibles. But those intangibles really can matter, especially if you're going to play offense the way the Gators want to.
Edgar, final one for me. How much more do you think this team has at this point in time? We all know they need about 20 more guys. We all know that at least that, Billy and his staff in the next year or two are going to, replenish the pond, if you know what I mean, or the swamp, if I shall. But was Saturday night pretty close to the ceiling? I don't know how many explosive plays this team has in the passing game. I think they've got a special running back, and they have one receiver that concerns me if I'm a defense. I'm wondering. Don't get me wrong, Edgar. The team Saturday night could go 10-2, but I'm just wondering: is that with the group that they have? How close to the ceiling is that?
Yeah, the 10-2 thing. First off, I think LSU on the road going to be a really heavy lift.
Well, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
But I'm saying Georgia and then FSU. Those three games, but I think all the rest are winnable. And I wasn't sure about that before. There are several that are losable too. But in terms of ceiling, they have some guys that I don't think we've seen yet get involved. Aiden Mizell, the receiver from Orlando. Guy should be on the field. He can stretch the field. Andy Jean, the Miami receiver, another freshman. He's been hurt, I think. So those guys could get in the mix. We saw Eugene Wilson. If his collarbone's not that bad, he's a player. I mean, you saw him on the first series. So you do have some other pieces, but yes, the ceiling is not as high as it's going to be ultimately, and the offensive line needs to still get better, and the right side of the offensive line is not very good. I mean, let's be honest. And Damian George has been struggling. I mean, false start in the first play. Graham Mertz had to spin out from the right side a lot because of pass rush. They don't have really a tight end, a playmaker. Jonathan Odom's a solid player, but you really want a more dynamic guy there. Safety, I think they can get better at. Jordan Castell's been really a revelation as a first-year guy out of the Orlando area. So he's very young, but they have areas they still can get better. Linebacker next year. I mean, they're good at linebacker this year. They got 3 top 75 guys coming in next year. They could get better off the edge, but I think they're going to because they have young guys like Searcy, number 19, Collins, Cam James, these young guys. And then Princely finally looked like the player that we were expecting at some times the other night. So interior line, I mean, everywhere they can get better, and Billy plans to really be one of the SEC heavyweights. So what's an SEC heavyweight right now anyway? They're 5-7 against non-conference opponents. The SEC looks a little down right now.
Yes, it does, Edgar. Yes, it does. That's why I think hopes are, more than just the win over Tennessee. I think they look around and go, don't know how many of these other teams we can't beat either. Edgar, we always appreciate when you make time for us, especially at the hour that we ask. Safe travels along the way in these next few weeks, and we'll certainly catch up probably right before South Carolina.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, fellas.
Edgar Thompson covers the Gators regularly for the Orlando Sentinel. Mark, home for Charlotte, at Kentucky, home for Vandy, at South Carolina.
Kentucky and South Carolina, very doable.
They are, but if you approach a Gator fan right now and say, I'll give you 3-1, you'll be 5-2 heading into the 2 weeks to get ready for Georgia. Do you think they'd take it, or would
Hell
they say,
no?
Okay, I'm just asking.
They just beat Tennessee. What are you talking about? They're going to beat Kentucky. They're going to beat South Carolina. Don't give me that.
That's why I asked, because
How long have you lived in this state?
Almost 25 years. 72 hours ago, if we had approached a Gator fan and said, I'll give you 4-1 in your next 5, they would have gotten down on both knees. They would have thanked us with tears in their eyes. And so that's why I'm saying, if you go up to the Gator fan in your life and say, I'll give you 3-1 in your next 4, just see if they'll take it or not.
21,000's the text line, Gator fan. Lake City Gator fan, Tampa St. Pete Gator fan.
Because you would have taken it Friday.
You're damn right you would have. But they're not. Did you see what they did to Tennessee?
As a matter of fact, I did. In fact, I grabbed them by the scruff of their neck and they rubbed their face in the dirt. Come here. And another thing. Yeah. And yes, for those just joining us, and we had it last segment, Mark Topkin broke the story 50 minutes ago in the Tampa Bay Times. Rays are going to announce tomorrow brand new 30,000-seat domed stadium near the Tropicana Field site. They're staying in St. Pete. It'll be ready for the 2028 opening day. So their lease will end at the Trop, and they'll move next door.
Can't wait for the Florida Sports Network there to be for the opener of that one in 2028, David. That's now a new goal. Can we make the new Rays Stadium? Miller and Moulton. Along the network, thanks so much for listening. The bonus hour in the 239, the Diamond District bonus hour is next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other. With a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologist, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Yeah, one of them is at 10 o'clock today, Paul.
Is today the day you're going?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Got a guy on the other line about some light bulbs. No, I've actually got some work to do. I got to get this listing thing done. I got to get some crap done for the show on the sales side.
Oh, the coffee guy.
Yeah, I really need to get Marty to send invoices to people so that we get paid, and therefore I get paid, and therefore you get paid.
Should we just do the invoices?
It's not our company. I don't have invoices.
Well, but
I know I believe he actually has invoices. So
would Candy do them if we just send it directly to Candy?
He does all of it.
Gotcha.
No, it is not, Jake.
Did you see the picture Takeo Spike sent out?
I did not.
So he was honored before the game. You know,
Right.
He was a long time Bill, really good player. They took a picture of where the seat was that he was given. He has an obstructed view.
That's fantastic.
That was hilarious.
How bad are my Spartans going to be in for how long? Because anybody that's any good is going to get up and transfer.
Well, yes. Listen, at this point, Matt Campbell would run there, considering he lost, although he got so screwed. Did you see? They lost at Ohio. We mentioned that game. They lost by 3. They made a field goal mid-fourth quarter. Made it. It's inside the upright by...
One guy called it good. The other guy called it no good.
No, the other guy didn't call it. The guy on the upright called it no good. It's clearly inside the upright. I have no idea why they didn't come out of commercial break, why it wasn't overturned. I don't know why the replay official, I have no idea how it was clearly good by 2 feet inside the upright, maybe a yard. He called it no good. Okay, he missed the call. We have replay, right? It's right there on television. Guys, I mean, we can't overturn this. He made the kick. They lost by 3.
By the way, I just, of all your games that you had a winning record, so it doesn't matter. I picked Colorado. When I saw South Alabama just goat rodeoing Oklahoma State, I was laughing so hard, David. I didn't have the heart to even send you a text on it. I'm like, oh my God.
I'm looking at it going, what the Gundy? What the hell?
That was the one that I went, uh-oh.
They killed them.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this largely football Monday, although we had a big baseball weekend. Rays, after winning the first 2 in Baltimore, lose Saturday and a heartbreaker yesterday, blowing a 3-2 ninth inning lead with 2 outs and nobody on. So the Orioles get the split. It's going to be tough for the Rays to win the East now. Baltimore 2 up in the standings, 3 in the loss column, 11 games left for Tampa Bay, 13 for the Orioles. Baltimore's magic number is 10. Rays did officially clinch a playoff spot. Marlins swept the Braves. Wow. And scored a bunch of runs all 3 nights. And if the playoffs started today, you know who the 6th seed in the National League is, Mark?
The Miami Marlins.
Felipe's Miami Marlins. Tied with the Cubs, they own the tiebreaker. Marlins, by the way, own 3 of the 4 tiebreakers. Tied with the Cubs, Marlins. Tied with Diamondbacks, Marlins. Tied with the Reds, Marlins. The only team they don't want to be tied with, the Giants. It's the only team they lose a tiebreaker to. 2-team, 3-team. If the Giants are involved, the Marlins are toast. But the Dolphins are 2-0. The Bucks are 2-0. And the Rays tomorrow are announcing a brand new stadium in St. Pete, across the parking lot from the old stadium. So there. We got a lot going on. Gators beat Tennessee. Florida State survived. And they'll play.
That was the strangest damn game. Because there never seemed to be a point in which I thought Florida State was in trouble until it looked like they were in trouble, if you know what I mean.
You mean when we thought Boston College was going to get the ball back late, down 2?
Right.
So it's 31-10, late third, and Florida State's toying with them. They've scored 28 unanswered, and they're about ready to just totally put this sucker away and go to the second teamers. And then they screwed it up, and there's a scoop and a score, and now it's a 2-possession game. And Florida State just starts falling apart. And next thing you know, it's 31-29. And the Noles have to run off the final 6.5 minutes of the game. They're unable to do it, but Boston College kept committing penalties. They committed like 34. Actually, I think they committed like 16 or 18, but you get the idea. So anyway, Mark, we talked about it during the week. You ask a Canes or a Noles fan about going to Chestnut Hill, and they're just like, oh, please, just get me a W and get me the hell out of town.
No, there's no doubt. Just a weird damn game for the Noles.
You know, you had the tropical storm winds that were coming offshore from that hurricane that's 400 miles away in the Atlantic. You know, sometimes it was calm, sometimes it was gusty, because we know with tropical storm winds, that's how it goes. It was just nuts. Quarterback hurt for Florida State, then he's not. Just could we get on the flight and go home? Honestly, Mike Norvell's like, can we play Clemson next week, please? Yeah, on the road's fine. Honestly, just at this point, just get us out of here.
Get me out of here.
So, but also it was that kind of week. Texas beat Alabama. Score of Texas-Wyoming going to the fourth quarter, 10-10. Like, no. I mean, come on. I had Wyoming in 30, but come on. They're going to the fourth quarter. It's 10-10. I'm like, well hey, South Florida and come on.
South Florida and Alabama were 3-3
at the half. 10-3 mid-fourth. South Florida's crossed midfield. They're throwing the ball in the end zone. Because you know they're going to go for two. I mean, come on.
Right.
I mean, you know if they score to make it 10-9, they're going for two.
Alabama couldn't run the ball on South Florida.
Not until South Florida's defense got tired at the very end.
Yeah, finally.
Yep. After like 54 minutes, the defense got a little tired. Yep. That kid broke the 50-yard run.
Alex Golesh has been kind enough to come on the show now, and he will throughout the season. All he has talked about, I want effort. Well, he got effort on Saturday. I know there are no moral victories, but that's got to feel like one.
And by the way, that's not just you saying that. That's Alex Golesh saying it yesterday. Did you see and hear his clips from yesterday? All right. There are no moral victories. Teams who mention that are losers. Okay. And there was one other thing that he said. Okay. There's no such thing as, that's for losers. Okay. We expected to win that game. We expect to win every game. Okay. There is no giving a good effort. Okay. Well, you played them tough. That's what losers say. We're done being losers. He wasn't angry about it. He was just adamant about it yesterday. He's like, don't even ask these questions anymore, was basically, Mark, what he was saying to the Tampa media. Don't know what to tell you. There's a new sheriff in town. I don't want to hear it. It may have worked with the other guy, may have worked with the guy before him. I don't know what to tell you.
They'll need to start winning some of these now. That's if you're gonna come up and give that type of speech, then you got to start winning some of the games. But he has talked on our show about just demanding effort. And they got it against Western Kentucky. They actually played them tough. It was a goofy scoop and score late in that game that caused them to not cover. And they played Alabama tough. So we'll see if that brings them a couple of wins the rest of the way in the AAC.
And you're right, Mark. You're absolutely right. They need to then win a couple of these games. All right. If you're going to say there are no moral victories, like you're hosting Rice this weekend, it's a toss-up game. Rice happens to be a 2.5-point favorite. Well, okay. Then, hell, if you could play Alabama to a one-score game until the final minute, you can't beat Rice? I mean, of course you can, right? So then, okay, you say there's no moral victories, then go do it. Here's the thing, though, just if you talk about the other team for a second. I mean, South Florida gave a 41 to Western Kentucky. They gave 24 to FAMU. Okay, if Alabama went out of their way to score that last touchdown, they could have just walked off that field 10-3. But Nick's like, no. We need all the confidence we can get. We're going to, because they were pretty much stopped inside the 10. The game was over. They didn't have to keep running plays, if you know what I mean. But Nick's like, no. We need the confidence. We need to jam this sucker in. Okay. Alabama scored 17 against South Florida, who gave up 24 to FAMU and 41 to Western Kentucky. Yikes.
When you have three quarterbacks, you don't have one, David.
I've heard that before.
Usually it's with 2, but now he's just, I don't know if they're going to have open tryouts this week for quarterback. I don't know exactly what's going on in Alabama.
I think they're going to go back to Milroe.
They should.
Josh Pate, CBS Sports HQ. He and Mark, we've talked about this before. There are times in which the locker room knows, and not just times, most times. Okay. And then when the coach does something that the guys in the room, or in the few instances, ladies in the room, okay, look around and go, what the hell's the coach doing? That's usually when problems develop. And Josh Pate went out of his way yesterday to say, I think for the first time since Nick Saban's been the coach at Alabama, that Nick made a coaching decision and the room went, what? I don't think so. And Josh Pate and a few others were like, they kind of had too many guys playing like Chase Claypool out there. I'm not so sure how into this they are right now.
Well, when South Florida's getting sacks on the quarterback against what's supposed to be the best offensive, I mean, they're considered one of the best offensive lines in the country. And South Florida was in their backfield all day long. 5 sacks?
5 sacks. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they have played a game in the last 2 years where they gave up that many sacks. And think of the level of competition they've been playing. So, yeah. A lot of issues there. But it's a very eventful weekend. South Florida before capacity crowd with an inspired effort. Gators before capacity crowd with not just an inspired effort, but a big W. And the Bucks and the Dolphins are both 2-0. Don't the Dolphins. Now, remember, Dolphins started 3-0 last year. But Tua got hurt. Lost 3 in a row. Then they won 5 in a row. And then they lost 5 in a row. So, Mike McDaniel and the boys, they got to prove that, this year's going to be different. Need to just. But, Mark, you know what impressed me? They won a shootout against the Chargers in which they did virtually nothing right on 2 sides of the ball. But the offense was so damn good that Tua and Tyreek said, we ain't losing today. And the rest of the team said, oh, thank goodness, because we were not very good. That was a team win last night. I mean, that's 250 throwing. That's a $150 running. It's 4.8 a carry running the football. Tua's completing 70% of his passes. They were in control of that game throughout. That was a desperate team they were playing last night.
Right.
And
held
they
New England
controlled
under
it.
100 rushing.
Yeah, under 300 total.
Sacked the quarterback 4 times.
Yeah, forced 2 turnovers. I mean,
right.
Yeah, that was a team. That's what good teams do when they go on the road.
It's also a division win. That's how you get it done with a team that's familiar with you. You're familiar with them. We all know the tendencies that the other team has, and you still beat them. And you beat them soundly.
So, Bucks were solid, not spectacular. Made the great play late, did Shaq Barrett. It's an awesome story. His family's gone to hell in the last 6 months. He dedicated that to his late daughter. First touchdown of his career. Good for him and the family. And you know what? Good for Todd Bowles. Because I want Todd to get a not with Brady run here. If you know what I mean. He only got 1 good year of quarterback play in his 4 with the Jets. With Ryan Fitzpatrick. They won 10 games. He had a year with Brady. Now, we don't know what kind of quarterback play he's going to have. I want to see him, it's probably his last chance to be a head coach of the league. I want to see him get a fair shake. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I know. I mean, it was against the Bears' offensive line, but still, it was a legitimate Joe Tryon sighting.
Is the worst office in a, in an office where in your place of work right across from the bathroom? Would you rather be across from the bathroom or across from the boss?
That's a good poll question.
Oh.
Wow. Imagine
I mean, we can save that for 6:20 tomorrow morning. I just realized that because the bathroom, the men's room, you know where it is here, around the corner. But that corner office, there's a young lady, I don't know. I don't look into her office. There's a lady that's in that office that handles a lot of the digital stuff because you see the cameras and all that. And it's just like you leave your door open and you just see constantly you got people going into the men's room. And when they're in there for longer than a quick trip.
Yeah, I always think about that. Always. Every single time.
I don't think he works there anymore, but man, there was one.
Oh, no, he's been long gone.
And he would do it. He would do it first between 8 and 8:30 a.m. too.
He usually always used that one though. By the old student, he always used the single. But they're there because I've come in the morning, like at this, between 8:30 and 9. I'll go and someone's because there's two in there.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see the feet, I just shut the door, turn around, go to the other bathroom. Like I don't need to hear this.
I think I'd rather be across from the boss. I just don't want him to be able to see my computer screen. I don't care if he sees me at the desk, but I don't want him to be able to see what I'm working on.
By the way, is that also the kind of win that helps when you have Wes Welker as one of your coaches?
What are you talking about?
Isn't Wes Welker a coach on the Dolphins?
Yes, but what are you talking about? We're talking about taking a dump and where you sit.
And
and
you just came up with
I'm circling back to the Pats conversation, Dolphins Pats conversation.
What conversation?
What conversation was that? Are you having this in your mind?
Is your own conversation?
Is this a text? Is this a text chain? Is this on Twitch somewhere?
We just talked about this on this. Okay, never mind.
No. Okay. We came back on. We were talking about there was a Joe Tryon sighting. So did you just wait till 6 minutes after our on-air segment to bring up something that refers to our on-air segment? Do you know all the things we discussed in the 6 minutes since? I feel like I'm talking to my wife just now. This is in which I go, wait a minute. You're having a conversation in your head, which I'm not a part of. And I cannot be held responsible. You cannot be mad at me.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Does that happen with you and your wife? Okay, we were just having, by the way, this is another reason why you really you need to give us a week one time. Miller and Moulton channel on twitch.tv. Just give us a week. First time you get to see us and what have you. I was described last week as jolly. Translation, fat. Okay. So, David, you're just as jolly as I thought you'd be. And so, okay. Right. So, we knew immediately what that meant. So, Mark, wife and I have been married, 27 years. She will have conversations with herself that I am not a part of. And then, midway or 2/3 of the way through the conversation, she will begin to say them out loud. And I will go, hold on a second. Hold on. I have not been a part of this conversation. Don't know what it is you're talking about, where you're coming from. You can't be mad at me, and I cannot be held responsible for anything that has taken place in the last 2-3 minutes in your mind. We were having a glorious conversation about subject matter that I will not bring up on the air. Okay. If Mark wants to, that's on him, since he was the one who brought it up on Twitch. And we were going many different areas. And Felipe, out of nowhere, after being a part of the conversation that we were having, which had nothing to do with sports, by the way. And then he makes a comment sounding as if he's going to continue to discuss what it is we're talking about. And he brings up something about the Dolphins having Wes Welker as a receiving coach and how that's really probably helped them against the Patriots. And we're like, that was 6 minutes ago, and that was on air. We're on Twitch now. We're talking about whether or not you'd rather have your office across from the boss or across from the restroom, which is worse.
And I think it's across from the restroom for what it's worth, particularly here where I'm at. Because there is a lady whose office is right across from the men's room. And, if you're across the women's room, whatever, I don't think that way. There is one guy at every office.
Yes.
Who will not use his own restroom.
Correct. He makes sure he'll have breakfast at home, or he'll eat breakfast on the way to work, and then he'll do what he should be doing at home at work.
Or at the least a Hampton Inn. Because as someone who's traveled doing sales for a lot of years, Hampton Inn is always going to provide you with a clean restroom. And the good news is they're right off the highway.
Guys, there's nothing like the 2 on the clock, you know?
So that's where we were. That's the road we were very far down at a high rate of speed, by the way. And then Felipe, just like that, had contributed to the conversation.
Yes.
Had his answer, his theory, the whole thing.
In fact, said, I've even thought about it. That's
Right.
a great question. This is something every time I walk in there, I think about that.
Right. Felipe's like, we should really put that up as a poll question. And then the next time he opens his mouth, while Miller and Moulton are still discussing boss or across from the restroom, he goes, how much do you think them having Wes Welker as a receivers coach helped them against the Patriots? Wait, what? I'm telling you, I'm not on the road with my wife. And for that moment, I was. You're killing me, Felipe. Absolutely killing me. You are, you know what? You are in a long-term relationship, aren't you? You are. These are some of the ways you change.
Even if he wasn't, he's in a long-term relationship. Basically, it's a self-relationship that I think he has these conversations with himself.
I'm able to pivot to other topics like Bijan Robinson coming down the lane.
Listen, we are too. It's just that you usually have to be in the area code of said topic. You said it as if we were talking about the Dolphins beating the Patriots.
Correct.
We were talking about whether or not you wanted your office across from the boss or across from the men's room.
21,000 is the text number to answer that question. We think it's the boss's office. The boss takes off a lot.
Right. And most bosses aren't hardworking, at least not the ones we've been around. Your boss may be hardworking. Ours have hardly ever been.
And as long as the computer's facing us and they can't see what's on it.
Correct. Right. I don't want them to see me playing solitaire or looking up sports on a website. As long as they think I'm working. Okay. Yeah, I'm all in. That's fine.
By the way,
boss, what's up?
By the way, this is the Diamond District bonus hour. Jason and Todd from the Diamond District. Jason, if you want a deal, today's the day to go in.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm getting texts from Jason at like 2 a.m. about the Colorado State game. He was all fired up about that. He wanted the defender thrown out of the game that made the hit on Hunter.
And he's right. I can't believe it. They didn't even consider it. I thought it would be obvious. I mean, it was a blatant attempt to injure. He didn't play the ball. I mean, what are you ever going to eject a player for if not that? It's ridiculous.
And then I just simply got a text from him last night that had a dolphin and a football at 7:57 p.m.
So go. You know what? Ask for him by name. Okay, and Todd won't take it personally. He'll understand. Okay, Todd might be the one to greet you and go, "Hey, welcome to the Diamond District." Yeah, where's Jason? Okay.
What do you mean? I want to see Jason today.
No, I want to see Jason. His Dolphins won last night. That's who I want to negotiate with.
And, we know Todd's an Ohio State fan, but it's not anything to get all that excited about. Right. Next week, if they beat Notre Dame.
Oh, you want to talk to Todd?
There you go.
Absolutely. Right. But no, Monday, Tuesday, this week, no. Go in and ask for Jason. Tell him Miller Moulton said, hey, I want to talk to Jason.
Fins up, baby. Fins up.
And then while you're there, ask him Felipe's question. Do you think having Wes Welker as receivers coach helped him against the Patriots?
By the way, how does this affect LeBron's legacy?
See, there you go. I'll tell you what, you really might have a future with First Take. Okay, every 6 minutes, you know where to come back to. The Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, the Cowboys, LeBron. And you know what? Come to think of it, we got to hook you up. We got to send. You know what? Hour and a half from now, I'm involved in an ESPN production meeting. I'll bring up your name. I said, listen, I got a guy. No, not for that. No, for something else.
I was raised by Skip and Stephen A.
Yeah, exactly. He was raised by you guys.
Don't ever do that again on this show. All right. I'm going to be really serious right now. I know your days are numbered and all that kind of stuff, but no. You do that again, your mic's off forever. Well, I don't care. Sometimes you're not supposed to speak the truth. Sometimes you're just supposed to shut up and not speak. That would have been one of those times.
You just see it's a 4-letter word right there, Felipe. You mentioned a 4-letter word. Starts with S, ends with Kip. Okay, can't go there. Can't go there. So I'm just curious if anybody's has a relationship with anybody. It could be, your wife, could be your girlfriend, could be a significant, or maybe it's a coworker like Felipe, in which out of nowhere, all of a sudden, it brings up something and you go, "What the hell are you talking about?"
For the record, I think the bathroom is way worse, by the way.
Well, let me tell you, it with some of the people that Miller and Moulton used to work with. Let me tell you, yeah, you did. Hell, I'd rather have my office in the boss's office. Holy mackerel!
And what's amazing is those people that we speak of who have breakfast and or coffee and or both on the way to work. Everybody in the office talks about that person. Everybody is aware of what they do when they come to work, and it doesn't affect that person. I mean, that takes an extremely large amount of either, self-confidence or lack of self-awareness.
Bingo. It's the latter. Okay, this is how bad it used to be with a couple of employees. Men don't buy air freshener. We don't. Let's face it. We don't buy it at the house. Okay, we don't. We don't buy the potpourri. We won't buy the air freshener. We don't. Okay, it was so bad.
How bad was it?
Men were bringing in the air freshener to the radio station. That's how bad it was. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly, all that stuff next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Totally West Coast Dolphin, in which you just finally have to go, listen, I don't know what you're talking about, but you have not clued me in on it.
Hey, David, did I do a good, bad, and ugly on a guy that basically stole everything? What did he? I might have done this already. That's the only reason. Stole a bike, a sailboat, and was finally arrested on a kayak.
Yeah, I thought you did.
I thought so too. Nike. All right. He was caught.
Well, RCB, I will say that hit looked as if there was a bounty that Colorado State had put on Hunter. Number one, I'll tell you what, the NFL needs to suspend the Broncos safety also. That's 2 weeks in a row with a headshot. They got to sit him for a week.
So, what do you think if a punishment were to be assessed on that Colorado State kid? What do you think it should be?
Oh, he should have been ejected. That's all. I mean, they gave him 15 yards, but they should have ejected him. I mean, it was an intent to injure. It was clear as day. It was late. It was late. The ball was nowhere near him. It was out of bounds. It was a clear intent to injure, which he did, by the way. He put the kid in the hospital. He's going to miss a few weeks.
By the way, even LeBron chimed in on that.
Oh, well, thank God. What did LeBron have to say? Because that adds so much to this.
He just said what we were all thinking. He said, I don't understand the difference between targeting and what I just witnessed. I've seen others get thrown out for a lot less. That was blatant and uncalled for. I mean, yeah, it's true.
Thank God I got LeBron's take on that. Did he read the first page of the book or the last page of the book to figure that out?
Oh, my God.
He's an idiot.
It's not an idiot.
LeBron's an idiot?
Great basketball player. Done a lot of good things.
I do think it was an officiating crew that was a little in over their head there for a long time. But I will say Jay Norville's inability to get his team, it's one thing. I get it. Your first half, you're foaming at the mouth and they've got all the attention and what have you, and the arch rival. I totally get it. But at halftime, you gotta rein it in. Okay, now let's play football. I mean, they should not have lost that game.
Mm-mm.
By the way, I'm not surprised by this, but Winning Time was canceled.
The best show that's ever been on television was canceled after 2 seasons?
Not enough people watched it.
Huh.
So sad.
Because we all saw it in real life. No, I'm serious.
No, it's
the
true.
HBO audience is my age. We saw it.
No, it's true. It's true. Also, the episodes were going on during the start of football season, so I don't know. People really aren't focused on anything related to basketball. But no, damn. Sucks.
This coming Saturday's Tom Petty night at the Swamp. So,
what night is it at the Swamp?
Well, it's funny. It wasn't until he died.
Right.
That is pretty cool when they do that at the end of the third quarter.
It looks incredible.
And it was amazing when they did it the first time.
When did they do it the first time?
Right after he died. He died on a Tuesday, and they played at home that Saturday. and it was very spontaneous. Right? It was not planned.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are approaching 21 minutes before the hour. It's our final segment. Diamond District bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Remember, it's Jason, who that's the one you're looking for today and tomorrow. Still basking in the glow, right, of the Dolphins.
Absolutely.
And if Ohio State beats Notre Dame Saturday night, Todd is your man on Monday and Tuesday of next week to get your deal. Or, in fact, you may just want to race back in on Sunday at some point. Give him till the afternoon, okay, for him to show up. But, oh, yeah, that's when, I mean, it's already great service, low prices. But if you really want, they'll be like, yeah, sure, fine, absolutely.
What else can I do for you?
I'm so happy.
Fins up.
I really hope somebody goes in and asks for him by name and say, well, Miller Moulton told me if I ask for you, you're in a good mood because the Dolphins should give me $500 off.
I hope about 10 people do it every time we say it.
I just can't wait for you to get the text. Jason going, Mark, how much are you saying I'm going to take off this thing? I don't know. I just thought you give him a little something.
That's it. Just a little something for the effort.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1793, President George Washington lays the cornerstone of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Today in 1837, Charles Tiffany and John Young co-found a stationery and fancy goods emporium. They'd rename it a few years later, Tiffany and Company.
Huh. That's catchy. High end, though, catchy.
Yes, it is. 1850, the U.S. Congress passes the Fugitive Slave Law, requires slaves to be returned to their owners. Not one of our good days.
No.
1851, the New York Times starts publishing. It was 2 cents a copy then, David.
Well, that's about now what they charge you on the internet. Hello.
I wish that were the case. I'd have more subscriptions. 1947, the National Security Act was passed, which made the U.S. Air Force a separate military service, and the CIA officially comes into existence. 1964, The Addams Family premiered on ABC. 1965, two biggies premiered, David. I Dream of Jeannie and Get Smart. One of the great shows of all time.
Yeah.
Unitas throws 4 touchdown passes today in 66 to pass Y.A. Tittle's 212 mark. He would finish with 290 TD passes. Today in 1970, Jimi Hendrix died. Today in 71, the U.S. whoops up on Europe in the Ryder Cup. 1978, WKRP in Cincinnati debuts on CBS.
Man. All right, Barney Miller, KRP in Cincinnati.
That's really a tough question.
Underrated. This is the Gary Player question. The underrated great golfer. There's somebody like this in every sport. Okay, Barney Miller, WKRP in Cincinnati.
I love WKRP, and having spent my whole life on radio, I should vote there, but I think underrated Barney Miller.
I think the same way. But let me tell you, oh man, I'm going to do lines in my head all day from those two shows.
Fatal Attraction premiered today in 1987. The movie Singles, with maybe the best soundtrack of any movie ever, premiered today in 1992. And Ken Burns' documentary miniseries Baseball premiered on PBS today in 1994.
Boy, they still run that sucker.
It's that good.
Well, it is, but I mean, they still run it, try to raise money off it.
Greta Garbo, Daryl Stingley, James Gandolfini, all born today. Scotty Bowman's 90 years old today. Otis Sistrunk is 77. Daryl Sittler is 73. Billy Sims, 68. Ryan Sandberg, 64. Jada Pinkett Smith and Lance Armstrong are each 52 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Well, it's an interesting tidbit, especially with what's been in the news in the last couple of weeks. It was 50 years ago today that Jimmy Carter claimed he saw a UFO. He was not the president. He was not running for president yet, but he filed a report claiming that he had seen a UFO. He was asked about it on the campaign trail. You got to remember, this is 75, 76. He's asked about it. And this is a serious candidate for president saying, yeah, I believe in UFOs. I saw one. And he won.
Man, Ford should have never pardoned Nixon.
Tell you, would have won 60-40 easy. And he barely lost. If the election was a week later, Ford would have won. And literally in the report, Jimmy Carter said, it's the darndest thing I've ever seen. What's more remarkable? He filed the UFO sighting, or he's still living 50 years later, remarkably. He and Rosalind in their final days together. Wow. He also promised, if elected president, he would encourage the government release of every piece of information about UFOs available to the public and to scientists. He had a brother who was a drunk farmer, a peanut farmer, okay, and he still won.
Billy Beer. President's brother got his own beer. Wasn't that easy then? It's not like now where you can just, grab a couple of buckets and make beer in your backyard.
Everybody's got a microbrew. Not then. I digress. I'm sorry, Mark.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
David, this is your kind of good. 29-year-old woman stopped at a 7-Eleven just because she was thirsty and wanted a cold soda. Something I'm sure you've done hundreds, if not thousands of times.
Yes.
She picked up a couple of Pick 5 tickets while she was there. They were both winners. She made a quick $100,000.
Unbelievable. Don't you just want to, honestly, I don't play the scratch. I would just like to win more than $20 once in the lottery. Can they? $50, I'd be happy. Really.
For the bad, we go to Portugal, where in a small town in Portugal, 581,000 of gallons of wine burst from tanks at a local winery and flooded the streets. You literally can see videos of red wine flowing freely down the streets of the small Portugal town. Man, I would have been out there with buckets. There's alcohol abuse, and then there's that. Finally, the ugly, we go to Mesa, Arizona, where man had a snake problem in his home. He thought he had 3 rattlesnakes in his garage. Turns out he had 20 rattlesnakes in his garage. He had to call a snake wrangler to come get the snakes out of said garage.
So he didn't think 3 rattlers was a problem? Those were just pets? But once, it's 20. Well, I got to call somebody?
Got to call the wranglers.
Rattlers, right?
Correct.
Not black racers on the lanai.
Nope.
Okay. Rattlers. Poisonous and everything, right?
You've, again, correct, David.
3 was okay.
20 too many.
In a garage also.
Yes.
Right. Not a big. So how do you get in and out of your car?
Very carefully.
How you sure they didn't get in the car?
Don't go there.
Oh, come on. I mean, they're a snake. Where can't they get into? What, you don't think they can get in under your door and get into the living room? Oh, no. They're in the garage. They're fine. Oh, right. What are they having, 3 squares a day? Come on. Gee.
That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, September the 18th, 2023.
Oh, man. That freaks me out. You know that, too. Every time you bring up a snake story, you just, killing me. Whew. We got, you got baseball. 2 weeks left. Some teams, have like 13, 14 games. The Rays have 11, amazingly. Orioles have 13. Baltimore's magic number is 10. The Rays are off tonight. The Orioles are in Houston. I mean, Houston's actually struggled in the last week. They've lost series to both Kansas City and Oakland in the last week. And they're home, and they're not a good home team. They're like 500 at home. But maybe, just maybe, the Rays get some help from the Astros, who are only a game and a half up in the West, because they're hosting Baltimore.
Verlander on the mound for the Astros tonight, too.
And he's been pitching well. Marlins have 12 games left. 6 of them are against the Mets. They got a series at home, which begins tonight. And then they end, I believe, with 3 in New York. So can the Marlins keep it going? Seasons ended last night. The Marlins are the 6th seed. They win a tiebreaker with the Cubs. So there.
2 road teams looking to go 2-0 tonight, Monday Night Football. The Saints are a 3-point favorite in Carolina. That is the early game on ESPN. The Browns are a 2-point favorite. That is the 8:15 game in Pittsburgh on ABC.
I think it's Fowler, Orlovsky, and Riddick. I believe it's 7:15, and it's Joe and Troy at 8:15. Next week, the Bucs-Eagles Monday nighter. It's another doubleheader a week from tonight, and the Bucs-Eagles, pair of 2-0 teams, is the early game with Joe and Troy. One other sports note tonight, Adam Wainwright goes for win number 200 at home. They're playing Milwaukee.
This would be nice for him to get tough. They're playing the Brewers. But the Brewers have pretty comfortable lead on the Cubs right now.
Yes. So Wainwright won his last start. He's got 2 starts at home this week, and hopefully he'll get number 200, if not tonight, by the weekend. So 8 teams are 2-0, Mark, and 8 teams are 0-2, and that list can climb to 10 tonight because the Browns and Saints both favored. If they win, we'll have 10 2-0 teams, and if they win, we'll have 10 0-2 teams because Carolina and the Steelers will both fall to 0-2.
I like the Saints and the Steelers tonight, David.
So that's your split, huh? Going with it. Because the other thing that's going on in the NFL so far this year, road teams are 18-12. So road teams have a 60% winning percentage. And underdogs, however, are 18-11-1 against the spread. So their winning percentage is even a little better. So Mark taking a road team, New Orleans, but an underdog in Pittsburgh. See what you're doing there. By the way, I'll take the same.
Pittsburgh looked lousy. There's no way they're going to look that bad 2 weeks in a row.
First time Cleveland's been a road favorite in Pittsburgh in 30 years. 30 years since they've been a road favorite.
Enjoy your Manny Brothers for lunch.
Yes. Yeah. Second go around in 18 hours. Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond